You're listening to Once Upon a Snoozefest. I'm so glad you could join me today. If you're enjoying the stories, we'd love for you to leave us a review. I'm your host, Nigel. We'll embark on our journey to sleep in just a minute. Find a comfortable position to fall asleep in. First, a message from our sponsors. This is Sentinels of Nantucket. There they stood, side by side, like a pair of faithful sentinels, guarding the entrance to a cozy beach house on the picturesque island of Nantucket. These were not just any ordinary plants. They were a resplendent pair of hydrangea bushes, their abundant blooms painting a vibrant tapestry of blues, pinks, and purples that splashed against the canvas of the sea-washed home. Their story began when they were carefully planted by loving hands into the sandy soil, where the salty breeze from the nearby ocean intertwined with the sun's warm rays. Each petal and leaf seemed to whisper secrets of serenity as the waves rhythmically embraced the shore just a stone's throw away. The beach house itself, a quaint and charming structure with weathered shingles and white trim, stood as a haven of tranquility, echoing laughter and the gentle hum of summer life. The hydrangeas were not merely ornamental, but cherished companions for the family that called this beach house their summer sanctuary. They had watched seasons come and go, their branches reaching out, growing a bit more each year. Positioned near the front porch, they were privy to the comings and goings of daily life, thriving in the harmony of their idyllic setting. Through warm, lazy days and cool, misty nights, these hydrangeas embodied resilience and beauty, shaping the essence of the landscape around them. Each season brought new visitors, bees, butterflies, and hummingbirds, all drawn to the irresistible allure of their blossoms. And as the family gathered for breakfast on the lawn or lazy afternoons by the sea, the bushes stood by, basking in the shared moments of joy and contentment. These were no ordinary hydrangeas. They were the keepers of memories, the silent witnesses to the quiet, subtle beauty of island life, forever rooted in their place by the beach house on Nantucket. Picture a typical summer day on the island of Nantucket. The sky is exuding a clear, endless blue, without a single cloud to mar its perfection. Situated just outside a quaint and charming beach house, two hydrangea bushes enjoy their prime spots, living side by side in terracotta planters. These planters, with their earthy tones, frame the vibrant hues of the hydrangeas, one in a breathtaking shade of cerulean blue, and the other a soft, enticing pink. As the first light of dawn spills over the horizon, the hydrangeas awaken slowly. The beads of dew gathered on their petals begin to shimmer and evaporate under the growing warmth. If you could look closely, the stems seem to stretch just a bit, reaching out to embrace the new day. This is a special time for them, a golden hour before the world fully stirs. By mid-morning, the beach house is alive with activity. Seagulls circle overhead, their calls blending with the distant roar of the ocean. The sun is now in full bloom, hanging high in the sky. Rays filter through the leaves of the nearby oak tree and dance upon the hydrangea's blossoms, creating a dazzling display of light and colour. The gentle sea breeze, coming in unhurriedly from the Atlantic, brings with it a whisper of salty freshness, a daydream of horizons far beyond the sight of their roots. This breeze weaves in and out of the hydrangeas, rustling their leaves in a peaceful symphony that embodies the spirit of summer. The afternoon rolls in, bathed in splendid sunlight. This part of the day has a different rhythm, quieter, as the human occupants of the beach house retreat indoors to escape the peak midday heat. During this serene lull, the hydrangeas relish the full strength of the sun. The soil in their planters, expertly cared for by the beach house's ardent gardener, is moist and nourishing. It's a blend rich in minerals and well-balanced, promoting the health and vibrance of these stunning blooms. The sun's rays now seem to slow down, more like a tender caress than a sharp glare. The warmth seeps deep into their leaves and petals, fostering photosynthesis while rejuvenating their essentials. In this tranquil scenario, even the smallest interactions seem enchanted. The occasional butterfly flutters by, brushing against the hydrangea blossoms with its powdery wings. Bees, with their industrious hum, visit frequently, drawn by the delicate nectar within each bloom. As the afternoon matures into the mellow hues of evening, the family emerges. The once quiet garden fills with the joyful laughter of children, their feet dancing over the soft blades of grass. This is a treasured time for the hydrangeas. Though situated in their planters, they watch the sheer happiness unrolling before them. The children, with giggles that can light up the gloomiest day, might sometimes stop to examine the blossoms, their curious fingers gentle on the petals. The gentle touch feels like an affirmation, an appreciation of their all too often unnoticed wonders. Nearby, the parents spread out a picnic blanket. This sight is not unfamiliar. Basket filled with fresh bread, cheese, fruit, and perhaps a bottle of chilled lemonade or a glass of coastal wine. As they settle down, stories are exchanged and moments are engraved in memory. The hydrangeas, in their own quiet way, become keepers of these cherished family tales, their blooms swaying slightly, with the warm wind conveying an aura of silent companionship. As dusk begins to whisper its arrival, the sun starts its prolonged descent, painting the sky with strokes of orange, pink, and violet. The hydrangeas look forward to this part of the day. The diminishing light brings relief from the day's heat, offering a cool respite that feels almost like a soothing balm. The ambient temperature drops, and the hydrangeas gradually release the day's gathered warmth, their petals and leaves breathing a collective sigh of contentment. The waves in the nearby ocean can be heard more clearly now, a constant and comforting backdrop. As twilight drapes its silvery veil over the garden, lanterns and fairy lights flicker to life around the beach house. The soft glow they emit dances on the hydrangeas, casting an ethereal effect that heightens their beauty. Twilight is when the hydrangeas enter a state of reflective calm. The entire day, with its myriad of activities and delight, slowly folds into nighttime tranquility. Stars begin to pinprick the sky, and soon darkness, deep and inclusive, descends. The sounds of the family pit-pattering into the house, the children's tired but content murmurs drifting into sleep, signal the close of another typical summer day. The hydrangeas, now shrouded in shadow, prepare for the stillness of night, knowing that when dawn breaks, a new day awaits. Another sequence of sun, sea breeze, and echoes of life around the quaint Nantucket beach house. For these hydrangea bushes, days blend into one another seamlessly, a beautiful portrait of constancy and renewal against the backdrop of Nantucket's timeless allure. The sky over Nantucket often promised days filled with brilliant sunshine, but in the midst of these golden moments, the hydrangea bushes knew there was another kind of delight. Every now and then, the horizon would gently drape itself in soft grey clouds, bringing an anticipatory hush over the grounds surrounding the quaint beach house. These were the days the hydrangeas cherished, the days of pleasant rain showers. As the clouds slid in, casting a lovesome shadow, there was a palpable sense of calm. The temperature would drop just slightly, providing a reprieve from the heat of the summer sun. The hydrangeas, with their blossoms heavy and full, would bow their heads as if in reverence to the nurturing cycle about to unfold. The first raindrops would fall lightly, little silvery beads dancing through the air. The leaves of the hydrangea bushes rustled softly, eagerly accepting the cool embrace of water. These drops, splashing on wide green leaves and trickling down to the roots, were a sip of heaven for the bushes. The rain provided a drink far more refreshing than the water the lady of the house would pour from her silver watering can. This rain was filled with a natural vigor, an essential purity straight from the clouds. As the showers would increase, the ground saturated quickly, turning the area into a soft, welcoming bed of moist earth. The hydrangea roots reached out, stretching and drinking deeply, relishing the quenching, nourishing gift. They felt invigorated, as though every fibre of their being was lit up with renewed strength and vitality. Each droplet that made its slow journey from the bloom to the base was like a whisper, telling stories of rivers and oceans. The rain also brought a fresh scent that wafted through the yard, an earthy aroma mixed with the delicate, almost sweet perfume of the hydrangeas themselves. It was a fragrance that lingered, enhancing the already picturesque setting. The bushes basked in this heady combination of scents, the raindrops turning the air into a tapestry of nature's bouquets. Alongside the refreshment, the rain also polished the hydrangea's blooms, making each blue, pink and purple petal shimmer with a renewed luster. Stems stretched taller, leaves looked greener, and the delicate petals seemed to blush with enhanced colour. The bushes hummed with a renewed vibrancy that the days of sunshine alone could not accomplish. Each rain shower was a spa day for the hydrangeas, a time of pampering and revivification. On these rainy days, the beach house family would often retreat indoors, leaving the yard to its serene symphony of water and greenery. The children ceased their busy activities, the dog curled up by the fireplace, and the adults indulged in books and board games. This absence of human noise allowed the hydrangeas to fully experience the raindrops' gentle pitter-patter, a melody that seemed composed just for them. They revelled in this tranquil time, entering a more profound, contemplative state as nature danced around them. Sometimes, in the midst of these gentle rains, the wind would pick up ever so slightly, causing the twigs and branches around the house to sway gracefully. The leaves of the hydrangeas, polished and adorned with rain, would shimmer and glide, performing a quiet ballet in time with the breeze. It was during these moments the bushes felt at one with the world, as if each element was working in unison to rejuvenate and replenish them. Even after the showers ceased, the presence remained. Puddles lingered, shimmering in the muted post-rain sunlight, and the air retained a soft coolness. The hydrangeas stood revitalized, their leaves heavy with raindrops that glittered like diamonds when the light returned. The garden hummed with the contented sighs of verdant life that had been thoroughly refreshed. With each passing rain shower, the roots delved deeper into the soil, exploring new territories, spreading out within their pot confines. The hydration allowed them to draw in nutrients more efficiently, fortifying their stems and encouraging fuller blossoms. It was as though the rain had whispered ancient secrets of growth and resilience, secrets that the hydrangeas eagerly absorbed and stored within their botanical memory. As night would fall, the hydrangeas would rest, serene and composed, almost sighing in satisfaction. The glow of moonlight through the dissipating clouds cast shadows over them, marking the end of another treasured rain day. With petals gently drooping, as if in a pleasant, restful sleep, they savoured the aftermath of the precious gift from the sky. The joyous occasion of a rain shower added not just moisture, but a fullness to their lives, a simple, profound contentment that came from being intricately connected to the rhythms of nature. In such serene intervals, the hydrangeas found their deepest happiness, quietly thriving within the nourishing cosmos of Nantucket's summer days. Nestled comfortably outside the charming beach house on Nantucket, the pair of hydrangea bushes found their summer days filled with a rich tapestry of interactions and entertainment, thanks to the lively family that called the house home. From dawn to dusk, the human inhabitants of the beach house added layers of charm and exhilaration to the hydrangea's already delightful existence. Each morning began with a soft hum of activity, signaling the awakening of the house. The children, filled with an eager energy that was both endearing and infectious, were often the first to burst out of the door, ready to embrace the adventures that awaited them. Their laughter, a spontaneous melody, resonated through the air, making the hydrangeas quiver in a gentle, almost appreciative response. The little ones would run barefoot through the dewy grass, their toes tickled by the softness of the earth, while their imaginations soared into realms of pirates, fairies, and undiscovered treasures. The hydrangeas became silent witnesses to these whimsical tales, their blooms nodding in agreement with every triumph and tribulation narrated by the children. family's canine companion, a golden retriever with an inquisitive nose and a boundless zest for exploration, added another layer of delight to the hydrangea's world. Often, this friendly furball would find his curiosity piqued by the bushes, sniffing around their bases, occasionally digging at the soil with fervent enthusiasm. On sunny days, he would chase after butterflies that dared to flutter too close, his energy melding seamlessly with the vibrant aura of the garden. The hydrangeas, standing tall and serene, seemed to smile at the retriever's antics, knowing that his exuberance was another thread woven into the rich fabric of their summer days. Afternoons brought a serene interlude, characterized by the tranquil presence of the adults, who often sought refuge from the midday sun beneath the shade provided by their beach umbrellas. Picnics were a frequent occurrence, transforming the lawn into a picturesque tableau of relaxation and camaraderie. The hydrangeas basked in the proximity of these gatherings, allowing the gentle breeze to carry snippets of conversation and the delightful aromas of summer fare: freshly baked bread, crisp salads, and sweetly tart lemonade to their eager senses. They had no mouths to taste, but one could almost imagine them savouring these moments, their leaves rustling in appreciation. It was during these picnics that the hydrangeas witnessed the familial bonds that were the true heartbeat of this idyllic summer. The way the family members interacted, passing plates laden with food, sharing stories and laughter, and creating memories, brought a sense of contentment that rippled through the garden like a silent cheer. The children, tired yet happy, would rest their heads on their parents' laps, their boundless energy finally ebbing into a peaceful lull. Even the retriever, after a morning of boundless activity, would find a spot near the family, resting on the cool grass, still alert to the occasional dropped morsel or the flutter of a birdwing. And then there were the evenings, when the golden hues of sunset cast a magical glow over everything, including the hydrangea bushes. It was a time for quiet reflection and unwinding, a gentle conclusion to the day's activities. The family would often assemble around a small fire pit, the flickering flames casting dancing shadows on the hydrangeas. Soft conversations and the occasional strum of a guitar created a soothing soundtrack that lulled the bushes into a tranquil state. The night sky, with its tapestry of stars, would eventually envelop them, and the family, tired from their day's adventures, would retreat into the comfort of the house, leaving the hydrangeas to stand sentinel under the vast, shimmering canopy. The interactions with the family were not just moments of passive observation for the hydrangea bushes, but exchanges that added depth and layers to their existence. Each laugh, each playful bark, each shared whisper by the fire built a storyline that connected the hydrangeas to this animated human world, enriching their summer life even further. These cherished moments of family joy and unity, these lively scenes of everyday life, provided an ever-changing theatre for the hydrangeas, making their days outside the Nantucket beach house an endless source of beauty and delight. The morning began as it usually did, with the gentle caress of the morning sun warming the petals of the hydrangea bushes. They stood proudly, their lush blooms echoing the colours of the ocean just a short distance away. The air was still, with just the faintest murmur of waves breaking rhythmically against the shore. However, this day had a different undertone, one that the hydrangeas seemed to sense in the delicate twitch of their leaves. By midday, the sky, which usually stretched out in an endless canvas of blue, began to adopt a somber tone. Clouds, thick and foreboding, crept in from the horizon, blotting out pieces of the azure expanse. The bright, shimmering light of the sun was slowly engulfed by a veil of gloomy darkness. The gentle breeze that typically whispered through the hydrangea's leaves picked up pace, transforming into an unsettling gust. It bent the stems and ruffled the petals, hinting at the turmoil to come. As the afternoon progressed, the atmosphere grew increasingly heavy, pressing down like an invisible weight. The sky, now a dismal blanket of grey, darkened ominously. The once comforting sounds of summer The cheerful chirping of birds and the distant laughter of children were swallowed by the rising wind. The ocean seemed to mirror the sky's mood, its once playful waves now crashing with a menacing roar. The hydrangeas, rooted securely in their plot, stood firm, but felt the tension in the air. The rising winds tugged at them insistently, shaking their blossoms and sending shivers down their stems. A sense of foreboding settled around them, as if the very earth they were planted in was holding its breath. The wind howled louder, the leaves rustling like the whispers of apprehensive ghosts. Suddenly, a flash of lightning split the sky, followed closely by a deafening clap of thunder. The ground reverberated with the force, and within moments the initial droplets of rain began to fall. They started slowly, tentative splashes on the hydrangea's broad leaves, but quickly evolved into a relentless, pounding torrent. The hydrangeas swayed with the onslaught, their roots gripping the soil desperately. The sky, now an impenetrable cauldron of chaos, unleashed its fury. Sheets of driving rain blurred the once clear line of the horizon, creating a monochromatic wash of grey and black. The wind shrieked, pushing the rain horizontally and battering the hydrangeas from all sides. Each droplet felt like a tiny hammer, forceful and unyielding. As the storm raged on, the hydrangeas clung to their strength, their once plump petals now battered and slick. The protection of their sturdy branches and the resilience of their leaves were put to the ultimate test. They could feel the weight of the water pulling at them, and yet they stood tall against the relentless bombardment. The world around them was a frenzy of motion and sound. The house behind them seemed to brace itself, its shutters rattling violently against the windows. Trees in the distance swayed precariously, their branches thrashing wildly. And yet, in the midst of this tempest, the hydrangeas held on, weathering the intensity with a quiet determination. Every gust of wind was met with resistance, every sheet of rain absorbed with grace. Despite the turmoil, there was a deep-seated endurance within them, a resilience rooted in their existence throughout many seasons. This storm, although fierce, was another chapter in their long-lived story, a testament to the strength that lay within their delicate beauty. As the cacophony of the storm surged and swelled, there was a certain rhythm to it, a wild symphony of nature's power in full display. The hydrangeas, though overwhelmed by the sheer force of the weather, adapted and endured, finding ways to bend rather than break, to sway rather than fall. As the storm continued its ferocious barrage, the hydrangeas stood as silent witnesses to nature's formidable power, anticipating the moment when the skies would once again clear and calm would be restored. The sky over Nantucket had darkened in a matter of moments, turning from a bright azure to a brooding grey. The first raindrops were timid, a hesitant introduction to what was about to come, but soon the wind picked up, howling with an intensity that ripped through the tranquility of the beach house's garden. The two hydrangea bushes, usually the epitome of serenity, were now faced with the relentless power of nature. Almost instinctively, they huddled closer together, their branches and leaves intertwining as if sharing strength. Their once vibrant blooms were now being pelted by sheets of rain, each drop a tiny hammer against their delicate petals. The wind tossed them to and fro, bending them almost to the point of breaking, but still they held on. Deep within the soil, their roots tightened their grip, anchoring them to the earth as the storm raged on. The hydrangeas had been through rainstorms before, but nothing quite like this. The gusts seemed to come in waves, each stronger than the last, as if the ocean itself had taken to the skies. Clumps of wet sand flew through the air, and loose twigs from nearby trees crashed against the house's walls. The hydrangeas could feel the vibrations through the ground, adding to their sense of urgency and danger. Though the bushes couldn't speak, they communicated through their resilience, through the bending but not breaking of their branches, through the holding fast of their roots. Each moment felt like an eternity, yet they were determined to endure. They knew instinctively that storms did not last forever. They ebbed and flowed like the waves of the nearby sea. As the storm continued, fatigue began to set in. The hydrangea's leaves were tattered, and some of their blossoms had been stripped away, carried off by the furious wind. But still, beneath the surface, their roots remained strong, nourished by the deep reserves of water and nutrients stored during better days. This was a fight, not just of the surface, but of the very essence of their being. Every once in a while, a particularly fierce gust would bend one of the hydrangea bushes almost to the ground. It would shudder under the impact, its branches quivering, but just when it seemed it might not rise again, it would straighten, ever so slowly, reclaiming its rightful place. It was in these moments that the hydrangea's true strength was revealed, not in defiance, but in persistence. As the hours dragged on, the eye of the storm brought a momentary peace. The world was eerily silent, the air heavy with humidity and the scent of rain-soaked earth. The hydrangeas took advantage of this brief reprieve to gather their strength, sensing that the storm had not yet spent its full fury. They were right. Soon enough, the other side of the storm arrived, and with it, renewed ferocity. Dust and debris swirled around, and the hydrangeas clung to their last reserves of vitality. The storm tested every fibre of their being, but each burst of wind, each torrential downpour was met with an inner resolve. They were, after all, survivors, shaped by not just the sun and the rain, but by the adversity they had faced together. The torment continued late into the night. The darkness, punctuated only by flashes of lightning, brought a new layer of disquiet. The hydrangea's senses were overwhelmed. The sheer force of the storm was terrifying. But eventually, as with all things in nature, a shift began to occur. The wind's intensity lessened, the rain softened, and the once violent skies started to calm. With the first light of dawn, the storm finally began to abate. The air was still charged with the residue of the night's fury, but the worst had passed. Exhausted yet unbroken, the hydrangeas remained. They had faced the storm's wrath and survived. Their petals may have been fewer, their leaves less pristine, but standing there in the soft morning light, it was clear they were still very much alive. Triumph, in its quietest and most profound form, lingered in the garden. The hydrangeas stood together, an enduring testament to the strength and resilience that lies hidden beneath even the most delicate exteriors. They were ready to embrace the returning sun, grateful for both its warmth and the nourishing rain that had tested their very essence. The storm had come and gone, and with it, a deeper bond had been forged in their shared struggle and eventual triumph. As dawn begins to break, the storm's fury reluctantly withdraws its grasp from the island, leaving a dense, perplexing hush in its wake. The once turbulent elements have now given way to an almost surreal calm. The beach house, stoic and steadfast against the brunt of the tempest, stands as a silent sentinel overseeing the first rays of light filtering through breaks in the cloud. For the pair of hydrangeas, these first glimmers of dawn are nothing short of a revelation. All is still, save for the occasional drip-drop of water cascading from their still wet blossoms. Each droplet seems to carry with it a fragment of the storm's memory, a testament to the battle they have endured. The hydrangeas look noticeably weary, their petals cling to one another, droplets glittering from the leaves like nature's little jewels. The air, now cleansed of its previous turbulence, carries a new sense of renewal. Every passing breeze is a gentle, life-affirming caress that whispers of new beginnings. The heavy, moisture-laden scent of rain still hangs in the air, but it shares space with the briny notes of the sea and the fresh, earthy aroma of rejuvenated soil. The hydrangeas take it all in, their roots extending deep into the nourishing soil, drinking up the freshness bestowed upon them by the rains. The sky steadily lightens, transforming from a sullen grey to a brighter, more hopeful hue. Flecks of azure break through the dull cover, painting a canvas of serenity overhead. The hydrangeas feel the warmth of the emerging sun, its rays inching ever so slowly across their leaves. Droplets of rainwater caught in the light refract into tiny rainbows, an ethereal display that marks an end to the storm and the beginning of recovery. As the morning progresses, the hydrangeas begin to unfurl their petals, shaking off remnants of the storm. Their beautiful blooms, somewhat battered but resilient, start to raise themselves to greet the morning light. It is as if the storm has given way to a newfound strength within, a reinvigoration that can only come from facing and surviving adversity. Birds begin to venture forth from their safe havens, chirping hesitantly at first, then with increasing confidence. Their songs seem to be in sync with the renewed life force now coursing through the hydrangeas. Insects, displaced and drenched, buzz back into their routines, adding to the chorus of life that's reclaiming the garden. The family from the beach house stirs within their safe enclosure. Curtains pull back cautiously, revealing curious faces peering out at the changed landscape. The children, full of wondrous energy, bound out into the revived world, splashing through the residual puddles with glee. Their laughter adds a joyful note to the symphony of recovery. As the final vestiges of the storm drifted away, a wave of tranquility settled over the small beach house on Nantucket. The sky gradually lightened, washing soft hues of pink and orange over the horizon. The pair of hydrangea bushes, nestled securely in their plots, slowly started to unfurl themselves. The storm, although fierce, had passed, and with its departure, the promise of new beginnings glimmered. Beneath the first rays of the morning sun, the hydrangeas began to stretch their leaves and blooms. Droplets from the rain still clung to their petals, catching the sunlight and refracting it into tiny prismatic bursts that shimmered like jewels. The soil at their roots, once churned and muddied by the ferocious downpour, had now settled, providing them with the nourishing minerals they'd need to recover. The days that followed were blissfully idyllic. The sun hung high in the sky, bathing the hydrangeas in warmth and encouraging them to thrive. Each morning, a delicate mist would roll in from the ocean, blanketing the landscape with a fine, dewy layer that felt refreshing against their leaves. Gentle sea breezes carried the salty tang of the ocean to their senses, invigorating them anew. Children's laughter once again filled the air as life at the beach house resumed its cheerful rhythm. The hydrangeas, having weathered the storm, stood resilient and vibrant, their blue and pink clusters a testament to the resilience of nature. The darker days had served as a reminder of the world's capricious nature, but also illuminated the beauty of perseverance and renewal. In the calm that followed, they soaked up not just the sunlight, but the essence of the serene summer in Nantucket, a time marked by simplicity, beauty, and an unspoken connection to the world around them. With the rhythmic ebb and flow of daily life restored, the hydrangeas settled back into their best life. They thrived in their sunlit corner outside the beach house, their blooms fuller and richer, contributing to the tableau of natural splendor that made this place special. Embraced by the elements and the laughter of the family nearby, the hydrangea bushes lived out their days in joyous harmony with their surroundings, epitomizing the tranquil summer life on Nantucket. This is Young Adventurers. In the small, misty village of Eldenwood, nestled between dense forests and ancient hills, lived a young boy named Philip. He was not an ordinary boy, although he didn't know it yet. With tousled brown hair and eyes that sparkled with curiosity, Philip spent his days exploring the quaint village lanes and dreaming of grand adventures. He was kind-hearted and always had a peculiar sense that he was meant for something extraordinary. Philip's best friend, Fatima, was as vibrant and lively as he was earnest and thoughtful. Fatima had dark, flowing hair and an infectious laughter that seemed to echo through the entire village. She loved stories of old, especially the ones filled with magic and wonder, often weaving fantastic tales that both amused and bewildered Philip. The two were inseparable, whether they were climbing trees, discovering hidden nooks, or simply marveling at the mysterious world around them. They both led simple lives, filled with the modest joys and routines of Eldenwood. Philip helped his family in their small bookshop, where he devoured tales of heroes, mythical creatures, and powerful wizards. Fatima, on the other hand, often assisted her mother, who was the village's wise healer, mixing herbs and potions with a surprising deftness that belied her young age. But there was always an undercurrent of something more, something unspoken that bound them together. Philip often felt a tingling in his fingertips, especially when he was particularly excited or upset, while Fatima sometimes had dreams that seemed too vivid and real to be mere figments of her imagination. Little did they know, these were whispers of their true nature. Unbeknownst to them, the quiet corners of their village hid secrets of ancient magic. The first hints of their remarkable potential would soon emerge and set them on an unimaginable journey. Their lives were on the cusp of transformation, where tales from old scrolls and whispered legends would soon become their own reality. And thus, the story of Philip and Fatima, the young wizard and the emerging witch, was about to begin. The day Philip discovered his magical abilities started like any other. He was a typical 15-year-old, juggling schoolwork, friends, and weekend chores. Yet, there had always been something different about him, an unexplained sense of knowing and a peculiar affinity with the world around him. It was a sunny Saturday morning, and Philip decided to take a walk in the nearby forest. The forest was his sanctuary, a place where he could think and feel at peace. As he strolled through the dense trees, he noticed a shimmering light ahead, unlike anything he had seen before. Curiosity led him closer, and he saw a small, sparkling stone nestled within the moss. Compelled by an inexplicable force, Philip picked up the stone. The moment his fingers touched its smooth surface, a rush of energy surged through him. His vision blurred and he felt a strange sensation, as if the world around him had slowed to a crawl. When his eyesight cleared, he found himself surrounded by a glowing aura, pulsating in sync with his heartbeat. Philip's initial reaction was a mix of awe and fear. He dropped the stone in shock, but the glowing aura remained. Waves of questions crashed through his mind. What was happening to him? Was this real? Overcome by a blend of excitement and nervous dread, he decided to head home. The journey back was a haze of vibrant colours and heightened senses. Everything felt different, as if he could sense the life force in every living thing. Once home, he hurried to his room and locked the door. He needed to understand what was happening. Philip picked up a glass on his desk, and to his astonishment, it floated mid-air. He watched, jaw clenched in concentration as it moved according to his will. Am I dreaming? He thought. Philip tested his newfound power with caution, extending a tentative hand towards a stack of books. With a flick of his wrist, the books arranged themselves into a neat pile. His mind raced with possibilities. The thrill of controlling objects with mere thoughts filled him with a sense of power he'd never known. Over the next few days, Philip devoted every spare moment to his secret. He practiced in solitude, experimenting with his abilities in various ways. He could levitate objects, manipulate elements like fire and water, and even communicate with animals. Each discovery made him more confident, yet more cautious. He knew he had to keep his powers hidden, especially until he fully understood them. One evening, while studying in his room, he felt a strange pull towards his window. Looking outside, he saw Fatima, his closest friend, waving at him. She had come over unannounced, as she often did. Hastily, he concealed any sign of magic before letting her in. "Hey Philip, you look different somehow. Like there's something you're not telling me," she said with a mischievous grin. Philip felt a pang of guilt. He wanted to share his secret with her, but feared what she might think. "Just tired, I guess. School's been crazy," he lied, managing a weak smile. Fatima scrutinized him, but let it go, diving into stories about her day. Yet, as Philip listened, his mind buzzed with the possibilities his magical gift could bring. He knew he had to be careful, not just about what he revealed, but also about how he wielded the power that now pulsed within him. Philip had always been a curious boy, but discovering he was a wizard brought an entirely new dimension to his life. No more were his days filled with only mundane schoolwork and daydreams about dragons and wizards. No, now his world was imbued with the thrill of real, tangible magic. But as exhilarating as it was, the journey was anything but smooth. From the very beginning, Philip struggled to control his powers. Simple spells like lighting a candle often resulted in blasting the wick into cinders instead. Even more troubling were the moments when his magic would surge uncontrollably, triggered by his emotions. The more anxious he became about mastering his newfound gifts, the harder it was to suppress them. One sunny afternoon, Philip tried to practice levitation in his backyard, a remote space he hoped was free from prying eyes. He focused intently on a small rock, whispering the incantation he had memorized from an old, dusty book he found in his attic. His hand outstretched, he could almost feel the energy pulse from his fingers, reaching out to envelop the rock. For a brief, glorious moment, the stone trembled and lifted a few inches off the ground. But then it happened. His excitement swelled, and so did the magic within him. The rock shot skyward like a rocket, breaking through branches before it disappeared from view. Terrified that someone might have seen, Philip quickly retreated to his room. But the most unsettling mishap occurred at school. Philip was in history class, absent-mindedly doodling patterns in his notebook as his teacher droned on about ancient civilizations. Unbeknownst to him, the rhythm of his pencil strokes began to synchronize with quiet, invisible waves of magic. Suddenly, maps on the walls started to flutter, and the room grew colder. His teacher, a stern woman named Mrs. Thornton, paused mid-sentence, her eyes narrowing as she scanned the room. Philip's heart raced as he noticed the changes around him. Desperate to contain whatever was happening, he clenched his fists under his desk, willing the magic to stop. Instead, the chalk on the board began to scribble furiously, writing random words that made no sense. Students gasped and giggled, not sure whether to be scared or astonished. Mrs. Thornton's steely gaze finally landed on Philip, her eyebrows knitting together in suspicion. "Philip," she said, her voice like a whip crack, "do you have something you'd like to share with the class?" Philip swallowed hard, shaking his head. "No, Mrs. Thornton," he replied, trying to keep his voice steady, but his insides felt like they were swimming in a stormy sea. The incident earned him a week's detention and a reputation as the class weirdo. Philip felt isolated, his magical abilities marking him as different in a world that valued normalcy. He couldn't shake the fear that his secret would be discovered, and worse yet, that he might hurt someone unintentionally. Navigating daily life became a minefield. Simple activities turned into potential catastrophes. Panic set in one evening when he tried to help his mother with dinner. Aiming to use a freezing spell to cool a hot pot quickly, he ended up encasing the entire kitchen counter in a thick layer of ice. His mother stared at the phenomenon, mouth agape, while Philip stammered through an explanation about leaving a window open during an unexpected cold snap. She didn't believe him, but she couldn't fathom an alternate explanation, so she let it slide, a wary tension filling the room. Each failure gnawed at Philip's confidence. It felt like his magic was an untamed beast, wild and unpredictable. He longed for guidance, but feared even his closest friend, Fatima, wouldn't understand. Yet, despite all these struggles, Philip couldn't bring himself to wish his magic away. It was a part of him now, an enigma he was determined to master, no matter what it took. And somewhere deep inside, he held on to the hope that one day he wouldn't have to face it alone. Little did he know, help was closer than he realized. Philip sat on the edge of the forest, staring at his hands, which had just glowed with an uncontrollable surge of magic. His mind was a storm of confusion and fear. How was he supposed to manage these powers when he had no idea where they even came from? The sound of rustling leaves interrupted his thoughts. and he looked up to see Fatima approaching, her face filled with concern. "Philip, are you all right?" Fatima asked, sliding down beside him. The question lingered in the air. Could he even begin to explain what he was feeling? Sighing, Philip opted for honesty. "I don't know what's happening to me, Fatima. One minute I'm normal and the next, my hands are glowing and everything around me is changing." Fatima listened intently, her eyes widening with every word. She reached out and grabbed his hands, her touch grounding him. "Whatever this is, Philip, we'll figure it out together, I promise." From that moment on, Fatima became Philip's rock. She spent countless hours reading ancient texts and folklore in an effort to understand his magical abilities. Whenever Philip felt overwhelmed, Fatima was there to calm him down, never letting him lose hope. One evening, as Philip struggled to control a simple levitation spell, Fatima stood by, offering him pointers she had learned from the books. "Try to focus on one object at a time. Clear your mind and concentrate," she urged gently. It was such a small suggestion, yet it made all the difference. Slowly but surely, Philip began to get a handle on his powers. Fatima's encouragement was unwavering, and her curiosity about the magical world grew with each passing day. She would often ask Philip to demonstrate new spells, her eyes sparkling with excitement and wonder. Despite the occasional mishap, like the time Philip accidentally turned the school's chemistry lab into a greenhouse, Fatima remained steadfast. She even managed to find humor in the chaos, making Philip laugh when he was on the verge of despair. Her support was an anchor that kept him from drifting too far into the unknown. Their friendship deepened, bound by the secrets they shared and the mysteries they sought to unravel. Fatima's fascination with magic was infectious, and soon she was experimenting alongside Philip, attempting to understand the intricate web of spells and enchantments. One afternoon, as they sat beneath an old oak tree with books sprawled around them, Fatima turned to Philip. "Do you ever wonder if there's more to this? More to us?" Her question hung in the air, laden with possibilities. Philip nodded, his confidence bolstered by her words. "Every day, Fatima, and maybe, just maybe, we'll find the answers together." Fatima stood in the meadow where she and Philip often met to practice his newly discovered magical abilities. The sun hung low, casting golden rays through the tall grass, making the scene almost surreal. Today felt different. She couldn't shake off the tingling sensation running up her arms, a sensation she had occasionally felt but dismissed as mere excitement or nerves. Philip was practicing levitating small rocks, his brow furrowed in concentration. Fatima watched him with mixed emotions. Pride for her friend, a tinge of envy, but mostly curiosity. She had always felt there was something special within her too, a whisper of power that she couldn't fully understand. "Hey, Philip," she called, breaking his concentration. A pebble dropped from its hovering position to the ground with a thud. "Yeah, Fatima?" Philip's voice was filled with the usual warmth, though an undertone of fatigue hinted at his diligent practices. "I've been feeling strange lately. It's like there's energy inside me, trying to get out. Am I just imagining things?" Philip walked over, wiping sweat from his brow. "Maybe you're not imagining anything at all. Why don't we try to see if you can tap into it?" Fatima hesitated, then nodded. "Okay, but how?" Philip offered his hands, palms up. "Place your hands on mine and close your eyes." The instant their hands touched, Fatima felt a rush of warmth, like a spark igniting in her core. She shut her eyes and soon, the meadow around her faded. She was in a world of darkness, but she could feel energy swirling around her, eager to be released. "Focus on that feeling," Philip's voice echoed in the void. "Feel it flow, like a river inside you." Taking a deep breath, she imagined the energy surging through her veins, moving towards her fingertips. Suddenly, a gust of wind swept through the meadow, lifting her hair and causing the grass to ripple like waves. Fatima gasped and pulled her hands back, The wind ceased abruptly. "Did you just do that?" Philip's eyes were wide with astonishment and excitement. "I think I did," Fatima replied, equally stunned. "But how? Your powers are awakening. Remember what I went through? This is your moment, Fatima." For the next few hours, Philip guided her through basic exercises, helping her channel her newfound abilities. At first, it was difficult. A sudden burst of power sent leaves spiraling into the air, causing Philip to duck for cover. But with time, control began to blend with the raw potential. "Try lifting that rock," Philip suggested, pointing to a smooth stone near her feet. Fatima focused, extending her hand towards the object. She could feel the now familiar warmth gathering in her palm. The rock shuddered, then slowly rose into the air, hovering steadily a few feet above the ground. "I did it!" Fatima burst out in joy, a wide grin spreading across her face. "That's amazing!" Philip cheered. "You've always been special. I knew it. We're going to figure this out together." Fatima's mind buzzed with possibilities. For so long, she'd hidden her suspicions, doubted her instincts. But now, standing in the meadow with her best friend beside her, she felt more alive than ever. Over the following days, Philip continued to assist Fatima in harnessing her gifts. He taught her calming techniques, ways to focus her energy, and even shared his own struggles, making the bond between them even stronger. "Thanks for believing in me, Philip," she said one evening as they watched the sunset, the sky painted in hues of pink and orange. "I don't know what I would have done without you." "We're in this together, Fatima," he replied, squeezing her shoulder reassuringly. "Your magic is a part of you, and now we'll explore it, learn from it, and grow stronger because of it." With newfound purpose, Fatima stared at the horizon, ready to embrace the journey ahead. Together, they would uncover the mysteries of their powers and face whatever challenges lay in their path, hand in hand. Philip and Fatima stood at the edge of the enchanted forest, a place whispered about in town for its secrets and dangers. The trees were tall and twisted, their leaves shimmering with an otherworldly light. Both young adventurers felt a mix of excitement and apprehension at what lay ahead. "Are you ready?" Philip asked, his wand held tightly in his hand. His fingers were still new to the feel of it, but he had discovered that the wand seemed to amplify his natural abilities, helping him focus his spells. "Absolutely," Fatima replied, her eyes gleaming with determination. She had spent days reading and practicing incantations. Though her powers had only recently awakened, she felt an innate connection to the magic coursing through her veins. Clutching a small sapphire pendant that seemed to intensify her focus, Fatima took a deep breath. "Let's see what we can do together." The duo ventured deeper into the forest, every step taking them further into the unknown. Birds with feathers of gold and silver sang melodies that seemed to enchant the very air. Unfamiliar, yet alluring scents filled the breeze, and the rustling leaves whispered secrets only the forest understood. After walking for what felt like hours, they stumbled upon an ancient stone archway, overgrown with vines and glowing faintly in the dim light of the forest. An inscription in an archaic language spiraled around the arch. Philip raised his wand, channeling a spell of translation. The letters shimmered and rearranged, revealing a riddle only the brave dare to uncover, to seek the heart and reveal the lover. Magic's truth lies deep within. A test of courage will begin. Fatima pondered the riddle for a moment. "Heart, lover. It's about intention and trust, I think," she murmured. Philip nodded. "And magic itself, let's give it a go. I'll cast an illumination spell to light our way." He channeled his willpower through his wand, and a soft, golden glow appeared, illuminating the dark passageway beyond the arch. As they stepped through, the temperature dropped, and the air thickened with latent magic. Shadows danced along the walls, and they suddenly found themselves inside a vast labyrinthine cavern. Glowing crystals jutted from the walls, casting eerie reflections. Suddenly, the shadows coalesced into the form of a giant serpent made of pure darkness. The creature hissed, its glowing eyes fixed on them. "Philip, to the left!" Fatima shouted, raising her hands. Drawing on her newfound powers, she summoned a shield of pulsating energy, just in time to deflect a strike from the serpent. Philip sprinted to the left, gathering his courage. He launched an offensive spell, but the serpent dodged, retaliating with astonishing speed. For a moment, chaos reigned, spells and strikes being exchanged in a blur. But they were starting to understand the rhythm of magic, the ebb and flow of power and intent. Fatima focused, her pendant glowing as she launched a spell designed to bind the serpent's movements. Philip seized the opportunity, gathering his strength for a powerful blast of pure light. "Now!" shouted Fatima. Her binding spell tightened around the creature, its movements slowing. Philip unleashed his spell. The cavern flooded with brilliant light. The serpent screeched and dissolved into tendrils of black smoke, vanishing completely. Breathless but triumphant, Philip and Fatima exchanged victorious smiles. "We did it," Philip said, his voice tinged with relief and joy. "Teamwork," Fatima replied, high-fiving her friend. She looked around the cavern, her eyes landing on a pedestal in the center. On it rested an ancient, ornate book, bound in enchanted leather. The inscription on its cover read, "The Grimoire of Thresholds." "This must be what the riddle was directing us to," she said, picking up the book. As she opened it, magical scripts began to float off the pages and hover in the air around them. The grimoire contained not only spells and incantations, but also stories of past wizards and witches, their triumphs and tribulations. Together, they realized that their journey was only beginning. They had so much left to learn and explore, and they would do it together. Hand in hand, with the grimoire safely in their possession, they walked back through the forest, their hearts light with the promise of future adventures and the newfound strength of their magical bond. As the sun set over the small town of Ravenswood, casting a golden hue over its rooftops, Philip and Fatima stood atop the highest hill, gazing into the horizon. Reflecting on their journey, they couldn't help but marvel at how much had changed since the day they discovered their magical gifts. Philip had grown from an unsure boy, fumbling with his newfound powers, into a confident young wizard, whose spells were the talk of the town. His initial struggles had taught him patience, resilience, and the importance of practice. He learned to control his magic with precision, turning what once felt like a wild, untamed force into an extension of his will. Fatima, too, had transformed. Her transition from an intrigued companion into a powerful witch was nothing short of astonishing. Her natural curiosity had driven her to explore the depths of her abilities. She had learned to wield her gifts with grace and strength, finding a sense of purpose she never knew she had. Their relationship, already strong, had been fortified through their shared experiences. They had faced challenges, both external and internal, and had come out stronger on the other side. Trust and mutual respect deepened their bond, making them not just friends, but partners in magic. Every adventure had pushed them to rely on each other, to lift one another up, and to celebrate each other's victories. As they stood there, the wind carrying whispers of future quests, they knew their journey had only just begun. The world was vast, teeming with mysteries and challenges that awaited their discovery. They felt an exhilaration at the prospect of what lay ahead, confident that together they could face anything. Philip and Fatima turned to each other, sharing a determined nod. Their eyes sparkled with the promise of tomorrow's adventures. The bond they had forged in the crucible of magic was unbreakable, and they welcomed the unknown with open hearts and ready wands, prepared to write the next chapters of their magical story together. This is a spring's promise. Nestled amidst the vibrant green foliage of a sprawling apple tree, a tiny bud began its journey. This tree, standing tall in the heart of an abundant orchard, was home to countless similar promises of life, yet each bud held its own unique destiny. It was spring. a time when nature awakened from its slumber, and the air was filled with an invigorating sense of renewal and possibility. Our story starts here, with a delicate bud, nestled securely on a sturdy branch. Gentle breezes whispered through the tree's leaves, carrying with them the sweet scent of blooming flowers and the freshness of the slowly warming earth. Below, the ground was blanketed with dewy grass that shimmered under the early morning sun, while above, a symphony of birdsong filled the sky as feathered friends celebrated the dawn of a new day. As days turned into weeks, the bud began to flourish, kissed by the dappled sunlight that filtered through the canopy. Each morning, it felt the embrace of the rising sun, warming its tiny form and igniting a slow, steady transformation. The sky overhead painted a vast canvas of azure blue, occasionally flecked with soft, billowing clouds that drifted leisurely on a gentle breeze. At night, the orchard became a serene, quiet place, bathed in the soft glow of the moon. Stars twinkled like diamonds scattered across velvet, and the world seemed to hold its breath, cradling every growing bud in silence and watchful care. Throughout this picturesque setting, the little bud grew, nurtured by the love of the sun, the whispers of the wind, and the gentle caresses of the rain. It felt the pulse of life around it, the rhythmic dance of nature's cycles, and the silent promise of all that was to come. Thus our apple's journey began, surrounded by the relentless beauty and profound tranquility of the orchard, poised on the brink of transformation and adventure. As the sun rises over the peaceful orchard, a small bud begins its journey, high up on the branches of a sturdy apple tree. The early days are gentle and calm, with the sound of bees humming as they flit from flower to flower, collecting nectar. This apple, once just an idea within the heart of the bloom, has the world to discover. Spring is vibrant and promises growth. Petals fall softly like whispers, replaced by tiny green nubs that will soon transform. The apple feels the warmth from the sun, the cool touch of morning dew, and occasionally the refreshing splash of rain. Each drop nourishes it, helping the little apple to swell just a bit more, bit by bit, day by day. As the seasons begin to shift, summer takes hold of the orchard. Long, sunny days bring boundless energy. The apple, now no longer a mere nub, begins its rapid growth. Its skin thickens and takes on a slightly rosy hue, a preview of the vibrant colour it will someday exhibit. The weather oscillates between warm sunshine and cooling showers, each element playing a role in the apple's maturation. Birds come and go, their songs filling the air with melodies. The apple listens intently as it dangles from its branch, absorbing the tales carried on the wind. Below, the orchard floor buzzes with life. Ants march in disciplined lines, beetles scuttle about, and caterpillars inch across leaves. The apple sees it all from its lofty perch, knowing that one day it too will join the bustling world below. With the onset of autumn, the apple experiences the peak of its transformation. The temperatures begin to cool, and nighttime brings a crispness to the air. The apple's skin, once green and unassuming, now deepens to a rich red, showcasing a collage of rosy patches and golden highlights, a testament to the summer sun and the nutrients shared by its tree. The apple draws strength from the soil through the tree's roots, thriving on the natural symbiosis of its environment. The wind rustles the branches, and leaves don their autumnal hues of red, orange, and yellow. They gently drift to the ground, carpeting the orchard in a blanket of colours. The apple sways with each breeze, its connection to the tree still firm, yet somehow softer. The weight of its own growth pulls it slightly earthward, teasing it with the promise of eventual freedom. And oh, the sounds of this season! The rustle of leaves creates a symphony in the apple's world, birds chirping their autumn songs, and distant wildlife preparing for winter. Rain falls with a gentle patter, each drop resonating with the life force in the apple. The storms that once felt overwhelming during spring and summer now seem almost comforting, a lullaby from nature herself. Critters below scurry about, preparing for the colder months. Squirrels gather their acorns, and rabbits nibble on the last tender blades of grass. The apple observes, feeling the interconnectedness of existence. Every living thing around it plays a role in this vast, intricate dance of life. Throughout the changing seasons, the apple's senses heighten. It can now feel the gentle thrum of the tree's heartbeat, as if in sync with its own. Every breeze and every ray of sun causes a ripple of awareness through its being, sparking a profound appreciation of the world that nurtures it. As autumn wanes, the skies grow overcast more often, the days become shorter, and the apple senses an impending change. This stage of growth has been enlightening and fulfilling. It feels the full spectrum of the natural world, from the caress of the sun to the cool grip of an evening breeze. Its journey from a tiny bud to a nearly ripe apple has brought it a sense of readiness, eager anticipation for what lies ahead, whatever that may be. The apple's journey is one of patience and resilience, invoking the beauty of change, harmonized perfectly with the rhythm of nature. Every stage of growth brings new colors, sensations, and a deepening connection to the life that surrounds it. As it nears its peak ripeness, it feels a burgeoning excitement, an awareness that its story is only just beginning. As the days lengthened under the warm embrace of the sun, the apple hung on the branch, cradled by the lush, green foliage that surrounded it. Each morning, a gentle chorus of birdsong echoed through the orchard, a symphony of chirps and trills that welcomed the dawn. The apple often marveled at this melodious greeting, the various bird species harmonizing together, each contributing their unique note to the vibrant morning concert. Around the tree, the meadow stretched out like a green and gold carpet, dotted with wildflowers in hues of purple, yellow, and white, their delicate petals swaying gently in the breeze. Bumblebees buzzed diligently from flower to flower, their tiny bodies covered in pollen. The apple admired their persistence and dedication, realizing that even the smallest creatures had an important role to play in this grand tableau of life. The leaves of the apple tree rustled softly in the wind, producing a soothing whisper that caressed the apple's skin. It was a sound that spoke of peace, evoking the gentle dance of shadows and light on the ground below. These rustling leaves were the apple's constant companions, sharing secrets through sighs and murmurs, always swaying to an invisible rhythm dictated by the breeze. Further afield, a small brook babbled over its rocky bed, its clear water glistening under the shimmering sunlight. The subtle gurgling and splashing added a fresh, bubbly note to the orchard's soundscape. Sometimes, a family of ducks could be seen paddling along, their soft quacks creating a playful counterpoint to the brook's babble. The apple could not see the brook from its leafy perch, but its musical whispers were a constant reminder of the lively world just beyond its sight. In this serene yet vibrant ecosystem, insects played their part too. The occasional buzzing of dragonflies as they zipped through the air, their wings flashing iridescence, painted vivid stripes of colour and light. Ladybugs crawled over the bark, ants marched in organised lines, and butterflies flitted gracefully around, their wings a marvellous display of patterns and colours created by nature's own artist. At dusk, the colours of the orchard deepened, the sky transforming into a canvas of pinks, oranges and purples. The setting sun bathed everything in a warm, golden glow, making the apple glow with a soft internal light. As night fell, the sounds changed their tune. Crickets began their nightly serenade, their rhythmic chirping a reminder of time passing. Occasionally, an owl's hoot echoed through the trees, a guardian of the night watching over the orchard with keen eyes. With every breath of wind and every play of light, the apple felt the pulse of life around it. The apple tree was not merely its home, it was part of an intricate, interconnected web of life that stretched across the meadow and beyond. The apple's senses delighted in this natural world, a world where every sound, sight and movement told a story of its own. It felt a profound connection to the earth, the sky and everything in between. each element contributing to the apple's own tale. The apple often studied the activities around it with a sense of wonder and respect. It was a silent observer to this ballet of nature, an essential yet humble participant in the orchard's ecosystem. Every leaf, every insect, every bird and breeze painted a picture of harmony, urging the apple to appreciate the beauty and complexity of the world it was a part of. Yet, despite the constant serenity, the orchard was alive with the electrically charged anticipation of change. Seasons shifted slowly but surely, each bringing its own melody and hue, each adding layers to the apple's experience. Spring's vibrant rebirth, summer's lush abundance, fall's fiery farewell, and winter's quiet slumber followed one another like verses in a never-ending song. In its quiet moments, the apple would close its metaphorical eyes and simply listen to the harmonious orchestra of nature, the susurrus of leaves, the happy hum of bees, the lyrical chatter of birds, and the gentle murmur of the brook. This was its world, a spectacular and ever-changing symphony that it was privileged to witness and be a part of. As time washed over the orchard, the apple continued to observe, to grow, and to absorb the wisdom of the natural world surrounding it. It learned that beauty lies in the simplest things: the dew glistening on a spider's web, the soft velvet petals of a blooming flower, and the rhythmic sway of branches in the wind. And always, it carried within it the lessons of the sights and sounds that had accompanied its journey so far. In time, the apple would be ready to embark on its own adventure, to discover what lay beyond the familiar sounds of its home. But for now, it cherished every moment amidst the rustling leaves, the birdsong, and the gentle hum of life in the orchard. A peaceful, vibrant sanctuary that had nurtured it from a mere blossom to a nearly ripened fruit. As days turned into weeks and the warm breath of summer lingered, the apple began to feel different. Subtle changes whispered through its skin. It was no longer the small green bud that once clung dearly to the branch of the apple tree. No, now it had grown plump and firm, and hints of red and gold started to dance across its surface. The apple could feel itself ripening, the transformation both thrilling and mysterious. Each morning, the apple bathed in the gentle rays of the rising sun. The sunlight was warm and nurturing, coaxing more colour into its skin. It could sense the pigments swirling beneath, blending and forming a beautiful hue that signaled its maturity. The once pale green now transformed into a vibrant, rich red, mixed with a blush of golden yellow. It was a sight to behold, and the apple felt an undeniable pride in its transformation. As the days progressed, the apple noticed the air around it changing. The breezes felt cooler, carrying a hint of the coming autumn, while the heat of the day began to soften. The tree's leaves, too, began to display their own symphony of colours, with oranges and yellows blossoming alongside the apple's brilliant reds. The apple felt a kinship with these leaves, all part of the same cycle of nature that dictated growth and change. There were the sounds, too, that marked this transition. Rustling leaves whispered secrets of the season, while birds sang melodies that echoed through the orchard. The apple listened intently, feeling a part of this living, breathing world. Nearby, insects hummed and buzzed, going about their daily routines, unaware of the apple's ponderous thoughts. Everything seemed to be preparing for a shift, an almost tangible anticipation hanging in the air. The apple felt a sense of ripeness at its core, a fullness that signified readiness. This feeling was not merely physical, but carried a certain wisdom, an understanding that it had absorbed during its time on the tree. It remembered the strong winds that had tested its resilience, and the relentless sun that had nourished it. The apple had grown, not just in size, but in spirit, and it could sense that a significant change was imminent. There was a particular day when the apple noticed a slight tug at its stem. It was still attached firmly to the branch, but the connection didn't feel as secure as it used to. The apple wondered if this was a sign, a gentle hint that its time was coming. What lay ahead? Where would it go? These questions filled its thoughts, mingling with a deep sense of curiosity and a touch of anxiety. The apple began to pay closer attention to the other fruits around it. It observed those that had already fallen, lying peacefully in the grass below. They seemed different, changed in some way by their detachment from the tree. There was an unspoken story in their quiet stillness, a tale of both loss and liberation. The apple contemplated this duality, sensing that its own story would soon include such a moment of transformation. Each night, as the world around it quieted down and the stars peeked through the velvet sky, the apple reflected on its journey so far. It recounted the days of rapid growth when it absorbed every drop of rain and every ray of sunshine. It thought of the times it had swayed gently in the breeze, enjoying the lullaby of the wind. These memories were cherished, a testament to its life on the tree, but they also stirred a yearning for what was yet to come. As days passed, the anticipation grew stronger. The apple's colours deepened. It felt its flesh becoming tender and sweet. The nutrients from the tree continued to flow, but there was an understanding that soon it would need to sustain itself. The apple saw this as a rite of passage, a moment when it would have to let go and trust in the world below. It was ready to embrace the unknown, to experience the drop that would set it free. The apple could feel the tree itself preparing for this transition. The branches seemed to cradle it more gently, as if acknowledging the impending separation. There was a silent communication between them, a bond that had been nurtured through seasons. This connection provided comfort, a reminder that even as it moved forward, the apple would always be a part of this tree, its roots entwined with its origins. Amidst these reflections, there was also excitement. The apple envisioned rolling across the soft grass, the cool touch of the earth, and the vastness of the world beyond. It imagined meeting new creatures, experiencing different sensations, and discovering places it could never see from the height of the tree. This excitement mingled with a sense of destiny, as if every day on the tree had been leading up to this very moment. Every morning, the sunlight seemed to illuminate the apple's thoughts, filling it with courage and anticipation. It felt a warmth, not just from the sun, but from within, a readiness that solidified with each passing day. The apple was aware of the delicate balance it was in, hovering on the brink of change, yet it embraced this liminal space, savouring the moments before the fall. Then, one especially crisp morning, the apple noticed a slight increase in the firmness of the breeze. It swayed a little more, its stem strained just a bit further. A mix of emotions surged within: apprehension, excitement, a touch of sadness, and a large dose of hope. It knew that its journey was about to take a new turn. The ripening process was complete, and the apple readied itself for whatever awaited in the world below. Each breath of wind, each passing second, brought it closer to that pivotal moment. The apple could feel the final stretch of its journey on the tree. It understood that soon it would be time to let go, to bid adieu to the branch that had nurtured it from a tiny bud into a ripe, vibrant fruit. It closed its metaphorical eyes, feeling the life and warmth from the tree one last time, preparing to embrace the world with its newfound ripeness, ready to explore the adventures that lay beyond the reach of the branches. In the coolness of an early autumn morning, the apple hung, swaying gently on its branch. The once firm grip it had on the tree was loosening, and the world felt more alive than ever. A breeze rustled through the leaves above and around, evoking a faint melodic whisper that resonated through the apple's very core. The sun peeked over the horizon, casting golden hues that made the dewdrops shimmer like tiny diamonds on the grass below. The apple could feel its connection weakening. The stem, now brittle and dry, seemed to be whispering a quiet farewell. This apple had witnessed many changes since it sprouted as a small bud. It had grown under the watchful eye of the sun and the nurturing touch of the rain. Now, it was ready to embark on a new chapter. The stories it had heard from birds and the rustle of nearby fruits about the freedom that awaited. A gentle jolt caught the apple off guard. Another breeze, stronger this time, rustled through the branches. The tension in its stem gave way. For a brief, exhilarating moment, the apple was suspended in mid-air, a strange mix of fear and exhilaration coursing through its being. As it began to descend, the cold wind brushed past its skin, the sensation new and almost electrifying. The world around it spun, presenting splashes of colour and light. The apple noticed the green canopy above, the rugged trunk that had been home, and the endless blue sky, all twirling in a slow dance. The sensation of falling was unlike anything the apple had experienced before. It felt as if it were liberating itself from the constraints of its previous life. Each millisecond stretched into an eternity where thoughts collided with emotions, creating a whirlwind of anticipation and curiosity. Was this freedom? The apple hit the soft, dewy grass with a gentle thud. The impact, though slight, sent a rippling wave through its core. For the first time, the apple lay separated from the tree, basking in the fresh, earthy scent of the ground, the warmth of the sun growing stronger. Each sunbeam felt like a gentle kiss, promising new beginnings. The apple took in its surroundings from a whole new perspective. Tall blades of grass swayed nearby, cradling the fruit tenderly. A procession of ants meandered past, driven by their silent purpose. The world seemed broader, deeper, filled with infinite possibilities. Thoughts raced through the apple's mind. How different everything felt. How vibrant the colours. How varied the sounds. The apple looked back at the tree that had nurtured it, appreciating the gentle strength that had supported it through its growth. But now it was time to move forward, to roll on and explore. With a subtle shift, the apple began to roll, relishing the sense of motion. As it moved, the grass whispered ancient secrets. The earth beneath told tales of countless travelers. The sensations were intoxicating. New textures, new temperatures. Every inch traveled revealed something marvelous and unexpected. The apple had imagined what this moment might feel like countless times, always with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. Now that it was happening, the reality surpassed all those dreams. The sense of freedom, the rush of possibilities. It was like stepping into the unknown with open arms and a willing heart. Embracing the journey, the apple rolled farther from the tree, ready to discover the wider world around it, not just existing, but truly living, free from the confines of its branch, ready to write its own story. With a gentle thud, the apple landed on the ground. It took a moment to orient itself, feeling the cool earth beneath its smooth skin. The sensation was new and exhilarating. No longer tethered to the tree, the apple felt a sense of boundless possibility and curiosity about what lay beyond the base of the tree it had known all its life. Rolling slowly at first, the apple began to move downhill, propelled by the gentle slope of the orchard. It passed through patches of soft grass, each blade tickling its surface. The vivid green of the grass stood in stark contrast to the apple's own deep red hue, creating a vibrant tapestry. Above, the sky stretched endlessly, a brilliant blue canvas peppered with fluffy white clouds. As the apple continued to roll, it encountered the first of many new sights. A family of ants marched industriously across its path, carrying tiny bits of leaves back to their hill. The apple marveled at their determination and teamwork. A beetle scurried past, its shiny shell catching the sunlight, adding a moment of glitter to the apple's journey. Nearing the edge of the orchard, the apple was greeted by a burst of colour. Wildflowers of every shade swayed in the gentle breeze, and the apple could almost hear them whispering to each other. Bright yellow daisies, delicate purple lavender, and fiery red poppies painted the landscape, filling the air with their sweet scents. A butterfly fluttered past, its patterned wings creating a mesmerizing dance that drew the apple's attention upward. Rolling further, the apple reached a small stream. It paused at the water's edge, looking at its reflection for the first time. The clear water mirrored back an image of vibrant ripeness, a stark difference from the small green bud it once was. Fascinated, the apple stayed there for a moment, enjoying the cool mist from the babbling brook. Deciding to explore more, the apple attempted to cross the stream, using the smooth stones that peeked above the surface. Each hop was an adventure in itself, with the slight splash of the cold water sending shivers through its core. On the other side, the terrain became more rugged, with patches of moss and scattered rocks. The apple soon found itself at the entrance of a dense forest. The towering trees loomed overhead, their branches forming a protective canopy. Rays of sunlight pierced through the leaves, casting a dappled glow on the forest floor. The apple felt a sense of wonder and slight trepidation, but its excitement for discovery pushed it forward. Inside the forest, everything felt alive. Birds sang melodious tunes high above, and squirrels chattered as they bounded from branch to branch. The apple rolled past clusters of mushrooms, their earthy scent mingling with the dampness of the forest. Every nook and cranny seemed to hide a tiny world of its own. At one point, the apple paused, spotting a family of deer grazing nearby. The gentle creatures lifted their heads, their large eyes showing curiosity but no fear. One of the fawns came closer, sniffing the apple before bounding away to continue its playful romp. Continuing on its path, the apple encountered a steep hill. Determined to see what lay beyond it, the apple rolled slowly upward, using every bit of momentum and will. At the top, it was rewarded with a breathtaking view, a sprawling meadow dotted with wildflowers, bordered by distant mountains whose peaks kissed the sky. It was a sight that the apple would remember forever, a moment of peace and beauty that felt like a warm embrace from nature itself. As the sun began its descent, casting an orange and pink glow across the horizon, the apple rolled down the hill into the meadow. Fireflies began to twinkle, their lights creating a magical atmosphere. The apple felt a sense of contentment, realizing that its journey was just beginning. It had left the familiarity of the apple tree, but traded it for endless possibilities and adventures. This new world offered experiences that expanded its understanding and appreciation of life. The apple understood that freedom came with the joy of exploration and the thrill of the unknown. It had found a sense of belonging, not just tied to a branch, but as a part of the vast, vibrant world around it. As the sun began to dip below the horizon, casting a warm, golden hue over the sprawling meadow, the apple nestled between the grass and dirt paused for a moment to reflect. It had come so far from the tiny bud that had once clung to the tree's branch. The days of swaying in the gentle breezes, basking in the nurturing sunlight, and feeling the refreshing kiss of the rain were but memories now, yet they were integral to its very essence. The apple thought back to the seasons it had witnessed, each one leaving its mark. Spring had brought the first stirrings of life, with blossoms painting the orchard with delicate white petals. Summer had brought warmth and growth, the apple swelling with sweetness under the watchful gaze of the sun. Autumn, vibrant and colourful, had finally ripened it, filling it with anticipation. Now it was free. Free from the tree that had been its home, its anchor, its world. Rolling away upon the whisper of liberation, it had ventured into the unknown. The sensations of the soft earth beneath, the rustle of the leaves around, and the distant songs of birds were now part of its new reality. Every moment felt like an affirmation of its existence. Every new sight and sound a testament to its newfound freedom. In its quiet contemplation, the apple realized that growth was never just about getting larger or more vibrant. It was about experiencing change, embracing the unfamiliar, and discovering the vast possibilities that lay beyond the familiar branches. The journey had been filled with uncertainties, yet it had also been profoundly enriching. The apple understood that it was a part of a much larger cycle, a continuous dance of life and transformation. From the tree, it had drawn sustenance and strength, and in its fall, it had found liberation and purpose. The world was vast, and its journey had only just begun. And so, with a sense of quiet fulfillment, the apple settled into the stillness of the evening, ready to embrace whatever lay ahead. Growth, change, and freedom had become its guiding principles, and in them, it found a profound sense of peace. The story of the apple had begun with a bud, blossomed on the tree, and now, as it ventured into the world, it carried with it the spirit of every moment that had shaped its journey. This is Whispers of the Wild. Once upon a sun-drenched day in early spring, Liam and Colton, two brothers with a penchant for tranquility and a love for adventure, embarked on a journey to the Greenfield Zoo, a serene haven where nature's whispers came alive with each gentle breeze. The air was a symphony of scents. Earth after a fresh rain, blooming flowers, and the distant aroma of popcorn wafting from a nearby stand. As they stepped through the gates, the brothers were enveloped in a tapestry of fragrances that spoke of the richness and vibrancy of the natural world around them. Their first encounter was with the flamboyant flamingos, their pink feathers reflecting the warmth of the sun. The air was tinged with the salty scent of the water in which the elegant birds gracefully waded. The brothers found themselves captivated not only by the visual spectacle, but also by the subtle, briny scent that lingered in the breeze. They stood there for a while, soaking in the beauty of the scene and the unique combination of sensory experiences it offered. It was a moment that seemed almost otherworldly, as if they had stepped into a magnificent painting that was brought to life by the vivid colours and the gentle movement of the flamingos. Moving along the shaded pathways, the brothers entered a lush oasis of greenery, the home of the wise old tortoises. The air here carried a different aroma, a blend of moss-covered stones and the sweet perfume of fallen leaves. The gentle rustling of the treetops and the delicate whisper of a distant stream added to the atmosphere. It was a scent that transported Liam and Colton to a world where time moved at a pace set by nature itself. The aviary was a burst of colour and song, much like a living painting brought to life. The brothers walked beneath the arching netting, surrounded by the delicate fragrance of blooming flowers that attracted the vibrant array of birds. The air itself hummed with the sweet scent of nectar, and each breath seemed to carry with it the very essence of the tropical paradise within the enclosure. Every step they took revealed a new marvel, with the flora and fauna blending seamlessly into a harmonious ecosystem. As Liam and Colton approached the big cat's lair, the air became charged with an almost electric anticipation. The brothers found themselves enveloped in a symphony of sounds. The distant, rumbling purr of the jaguars, the soft padding of the leopards as they moved gracefully through the dense foliage, and the occasional throaty growl that resonated deeply with primal energy. The enclosure, surrounded by lush greenery, exuded the musky scent of the wild. The earth beneath their feet bore the imprints of powerful paws, and the air hung heavy with a heady aroma of rich, fertile soil. The brothers could almost taste the untamed spirit of the big cats, a primal essence that stirred a sense of awe and reverence within them. As they stood before the glass, the jaguars prowled with sinuous grace, their sleek bodies rippling with power. The brothers felt a magnetic connection with the creatures on the other side, a shared heartbeat that transcended the barriers of glass. The scent of the big cats lingered, an intoxicating blend of wildness and freedom that left an indelible mark on Liam and Colton. The brothers glanced at each other, acknowledging the bond that had formed, a connection that was both profound and inexplicable. In the heart of the zoo, they discovered the secluded pond, where the air was filled with the refreshing scent of damp soil and the subtle sweetness of willow blossoms. The secluded pond, nestled beneath the weeping willows, was a haven of serenity. The water shimmered with reflections of the surrounding greenery, and the air carried the refreshing scent of damp earth and the subtle aroma of flowers. Colton found a moss-covered rock to sit on, feeling the cool, smooth texture beneath his fingertips, and he listened to the gentle rustling of leaves in the breeze. surface of the pond rippled as a gentle breeze whispered through the willow branches, causing the water lilies to sway in a hypnotic dance. The air was alive with the melodic chorus of frogs, their soothing croaks blending perfectly with the distant murmur of the waterfall. Each breath seemed to draw in the essence of the pond, a combination of the earthy scent of mud, the delicate perfume of water lilies, and the invigorating freshness of the surrounding greenery. In this serene setting, time appeared to stand still, letting the natural beauty and tranquility of the pond wash over anyone who paused to observe and listen attentively. As Liam and Colton sat in contemplative silence, they felt a profound connection to the tranquil pond, a place where time slowed and the boundaries between nature and observer dissolved. The stillness of the water mirrored their introspective mood, amplifying the sense of unity with their surroundings. The brothers found themselves in the company of elephants, the gentle giants of the animal kingdom. Approaching the elephant's enclosure, the brothers were met with a vast expanse that echoed the savannah, enchanting them with its sprawling beauty. The air was filled with the rich, earthy scent of the massive creatures. It carried nuances of crushed grass, warm hay, and a subtle hint of minerals from the dusty ground beneath their feet. They marveled at the profound serenity these magnificent beings brought into their world. The elephants, with their wrinkled skin and wise eyes, moved with a slow and deliberate grace. The brothers could hear the rustling of hay as the elephants reached for the bundled feed, and the sound of their trumpeting calls resonated loudly in the air, echoing around them. The scent of hay mingled with the earthiness of the elephants, creating a sensory tapestry that enveloped Liam and Colton in the majesty and wonder of these gentle giants, leaving them awestruck. The brothers stood in silent admiration, feeling a kinship with the elephants, a shared understanding that transcended language. The air, heavy with the presence of these magnificent creatures, held the promise of connection and a profound respect for the interconnectedness of all life. With each passing moment, their awe deepened. Recognizing the beauty in such a natural display of unity, this silent communion spoke volumes, reminding them of their place in the tapestry of existence. As the sun began its descent, casting a warm golden glow over the landscape, Liam and Colton found themselves at the pond once again. The dragonflies, with their iridescent wings, filled the air in a magical display of colours. The brothers sat by the water's edge, captivated by the graceful dance of these enchanting insects. They watched as the dragonflies flitted between the reeds, their wings catching the light, sparkling like tiny jewels in the fading sunlight. The scene was so serene, a moment that felt like it could last forever. The air was alive with the delicate hum of the dragonfly wings, creating a soothing melody that harmonized with the gentle lapping of the water. Each movement of the dragonflies left behind a trail of enchanting fragrances, a mix of sweet nectar, the earthy scent of pond water, and the subtle aroma of wildflowers that surrounded the area. The pond felt otherworldly, a hidden sanctuary where time seemed to slow, allowing one to fully immerse in the overwhelming beauty of nature's delicate symphony. The way the sun filtered through the leaves added a golden hue to the atmosphere, casting ethereal shadows on the ground and further enhancing the magical ambience of this tranquil haven. As dusk settled, the sky painted in hues of orange and lavender, the brothers made their way back towards the zoo's entrance. The air, now cooled by the approaching night, carried with it the subtle scent of dew-kissed grass, a fragrance that whispered of the quiet fulfillment found in the day's simple wonders. The atmosphere seemed to hold time still, allowing them a brief moment of reflection and contemplation before heading home. And so, in the tapestry of time, the story of Liam and Colton unfolded. A tale of tranquility, connection, and the enchanting sensory experiences in the whispers of the wild, weaving moments of profound insight and deeper understanding of the world around them. This is nature's solace. Thomas was a man who found solace in the simple pleasures of life. He was in his late 30s, with a rugged charm that came from spending countless hours outdoors. His deep brown eyes held a calm, reflective gaze, often taking in the beauty of the world around him. Thomas had always been drawn to nature, finding comfort in the rustling leaves, the chorus of birds, and the gentle breeze that whispered through the trees. Thomas was never alone on his ventures into the wilderness. His loyal companion, Hunter, was always by his side. Hunter was a golden retriever with a coat that gleamed like autumn leaves kissed by the sun. His boundless energy and joyful spirit were infectious, bringing a smile to Thomas's face even on the gloomiest of days. Hunter had an unquenchable curiosity, always eager to explore every nook and cranny, sniffing out new adventures with an enthusiasm that seemed limitless. Thomas and Hunter shared a bond that was as deep as the forest they so often wandered through. They understood each other in a way that words could never convey. Thomas's love for nature was mirrored in Hunter's playful antics, whether bounding through fields, splashing in streams, or simply lying under the canopy of trees. Hunter found joy in every moment. Thomas valued the serenity that came from his connection to the natural world. He was a man of few words, preferring the quiet companionship of the woods over the hustle and bustle of city life. In Hunter, he found a friend who needed no conversation to communicate their mutual appreciation for the great outdoors. This unspoken understanding forged a partnership that was both simple and profound. Each morning, as the sun's first rays filtered through the trees, Thomas and Hunter would set out on their daily walk. It was a cherished routine, a time for reflection, and an opportunity to bask in the tranquility of the world around them. As they ventured deeper into the woods, the day's worries seemed to melt away, leaving only the peace that came from being at one with nature and each other. Hunter's playful spirit was a perfect counterbalance to Thomas's contemplative nature. Together, they moved through life with an easy grace, finding fulfillment in the moments that others might overlook. Their walks were more than just exercise. They were a testament to the beauty of companionship and the unspoken bond between a man and his dog. Thomas and Hunter set out from the little cottage nestled at the edge of the woods, their journey beginning as it always did. The morning air was crisp, a gentle chill weaving through the foliage, promising a day of communion with nature. Thomas closed the wooden gate behind them and glanced down at his loyal companion. Hunter's eyes sparkled with excitement, his tail wagging in anticipation of the adventures that lay ahead. Every morning was the same, yet uniquely special. Thomas cherished these moments of quiet routine, a comforting rhythm that framed their days. The pair walked side by side along the familiar path, the leaves beneath their feet crunching softly. The sun had just started its ascent, casting a cool, amber light that danced through the branches. The forest greeted them with an air of tranquility, as if welcoming two old friends back into its embrace. Hunter bounded ahead, sniffing the air and searching the ground for new scents. His energy was palpable, a ball of fur and boundless curiosity. Thomas watched him fondly, admiring the infectious joy Hunter found in the simplest things. The trail meandered deeper into the forest, winding past ancient oaks and sprightly birches. Each step brought Thomas a sense of peace, a break from the hustle of daily life. His breath synchronized with the rustling leaves and the distant call of a morning dove, merging with the natural world around him. They followed the trail to a small clearing, a favorite spot for both. The grass here was damp with morning dew, shimmering like a carpet of diamonds. Thomas paused, taking in the serene beauty that surrounded them. This was more than just a walk. It was a ritual of connection, a reset button that brought calm and clarity. Hunter was in his element, nose to the ground, tracking invisible trails left by the woodland creatures. Sprinting back to Thomas after each wild chase, Hunter's enthusiasm never waned. his spirit untouched by the mundanity of routine. In every blade of grass, every flutter of a leaf, Hunter saw potential adventure. Taking a deep breath, Thomas felt the weight of his worldly concerns lift, carried away on the fresh, pine-scented breeze. These walks were his sanctuary, a place where he could simply be, without the pressures and demands that waited outside the forest's edge. Hunter's presence made the experience even richer, a shared journey between man and his unwavering companion. As they continued their stroll, the path grew narrower, guiding them deeper into the heart of the woods. Each step further from civilization and deeper into nature felt more liberating. The forest was alive with the whispers of the wind and the chorus of birds, a symphony that underscored their peaceful trek. Thomas knew that more than a routine, these walks were a necessity for both him and Hunter. They grounded him, reminding him of the simple joys and the inherent beauty in the natural cycle of life. More than that, they strengthened the bond between him and Hunter, a relationship built on trust, loyalty, and mutual indulgence in the splendors of the world around them. And so, Thomas and Hunter ambled on, lost in the endless charm of their forest sanctuary, embracing each step as a new page in their shared story. The path ahead of Thomas and Hunter meandered through the woods, a serenade of nature's finest symphony, woven together by the rustling leaves, the chirping of birds, and the gentle whisper of the wind. The woods were a tapestry of verdant hues and rich earth tones, where life throbbed quietly in the background, a stark contrast to the bustle of the city. The trees stood tall and silent, like ancient sentinels, their trunks a maze of intricate bark patterns, each telling a story of resilience and time. Thomas always marveled at this vast expanse of green, where the sunlight filtered through the canopy, casting playful shadows on the forest floor. The slanting rays of the morning sun bathed the woods in a soft golden glow, illuminating the delicate dance of dust particles suspended in the air. The leaves, still glistening with the morning dew, shimmered like a million tiny jewels, adding a touch of ethereal beauty to the scene. As they walked, Hunter's eager nose was constantly at work, sniffing around fallen branches, patches of moss, and the occasional mushroom peeking out from the undergrowth. Thomas watched his dog with a smile, his appreciation for these woods mirrored in Hunter's boundless energy. Every now and then, the tranquil silence would be punctuated by the distant call of a bird or the chattering of squirrels, providing a gentle reminder that this was a world brimming with life. The trail they followed was blanketed with a soft carpet of leaves, their autumnal hues a striking contrast to the green overhead. The crunching sound underfoot was a soothing melody that only added to the sense of peace that enveloped them. Here and there, wildflowers in purples, yellows, and whites added vibrant splashes of color to the palette, swaying gently with the breeze, as if waving to the passing duo. Every corner they turned unveiled a new facet of the wood's beauty. The trees varied in kind, majestic oaks, slender birches, and stately pines, each one adding to the rich diversity of the landscape. The air was filled with the rich, earthy scent of dampened soil and decaying foliage, a fragrance that Thomas found deeply comforting, grounding him to the present moment. Thomas and Hunter moved in harmony with the forest, their footsteps in sync with the heartbeat of nature. As they continued, the path led them to a small clearing, a serene oasis bathed in light. Here, the sunlight was more direct, bringing out the vivid greens of the grass and the blues of the sky. A striking backdrop for the gnarled ancient tree that stood at its center. The tree's sprawling branches created an intricate latticework of shadows, a dance of light and dark on the forest floor. Hunter bounded ahead, circling the tree with joyous barks, while Thomas allowed himself a moment to revel in the sheer beauty and tranquility of the scene. The forest was alive with the sounds of creatures unseen. Beneath the thick canopy, the symphony of rustling leaves was accompanied by the steady trickle of a stream nearby, the water whispering a melody of its own as it wound its way over smooth stones. Thomas often found himself pausing to listen, closing his eyes to take in the full spectrum of this auditory tapestry, feeling the calm wash over him. Occasionally, a ray of sunlight would find its way through the dense leaf cover, spotlighting a patch of vibrant green moss or the delicate petals of a woodland flower. Thomas would point these out to Hunter, who would respond with a wag of his tail and an inquisitive sniff. These small moments of shared wonder between man and dog brought a profound sense of connection to the natural world around them. As they ventured deeper into the woods, the path narrowed and the trees grew denser, their branches intertwining overhead to form a natural archway. The air was cooler here, carrying the crisp scent of pine needles and the faint musk of forest creatures. It was a place that spoke of mystery and adventure, yet also of refuge and solace. Thomas felt a deep sense of gratitude in these moments, aware of how fortunate he was to experience such untouched beauty, to walk amidst nature's splendor with his loyal companion. This walk was not just a routine for him, it was a sacred ritual, a return to simplicity, a way to reconnect with the earth and himself. Hunter's merry antics continued unabated. He frolicked through the underbrush, his senses alive with the myriad smells and sounds. His enthusiasm unbridled. Thomas chuckled, feeling a warm glow in his chest. In the dance of light and shadows, the kaleidoscope of colors, the symphony of sounds and scents, the woods revealed their wondrous beauty to Thomas and Hunter, making each step a celebration of life itself. Hunter bounded ahead with an excitement that brought a smile to Thomas's face. The forest, dense with life and the fresh scent of pine, seemed to be Hunter's personal playground. The leaves crunched under his paws as he darted from one intriguing smell to another, his tail a whirlwind of energy. Thomas watched as Hunter paused by a moss-covered log, nose twitching and ears perked. He sniffed deeply, investigating the alluring scent left by a nocturnal visitor. Perhaps it was a raccoon or a rabbit that had crossed this path during the night. With a decisive snort, Hunter moved on, eager to discover the next adventure. Further down the trail, the dog spotted a flutter of wings as a family of birds took flight from a bush. With a burst of speed, Hunter charged towards the bush, stopping just short of the foliage as the birds escaped into the high branches of an old oak tree. He barked once, not in frustration, but in a joyful acknowledgement of the vibrant life around him. The forest was alive, and Hunter was a part of its pulse. His nose never rested. He poked his snout into piles of leaves, digging with fervor as if uncovering buried treasure. An earthworm or the occasional beetle would wriggle out, prompting Hunter to step back and observe with a mix of curiosity and satisfaction. The little creatures were of no threat or serious interest, but they represented the endless mystery of the woods. Thomas saw the pure pleasure in Hunter's eyes when he found a stick lying on the ground. The dog grabbed hold of it, chewing on the rough bark for a moment before proudly marching with it clamped in his jaws. Hunter then dropped the stick at Thomas's feet, looking up with earnest eyes that practically begged for a game of fetch. Obligingly, Thomas tossed the stick into the trees. With a burst of speed, his loyal companion chased after it, leaping over roots and small rocks with the grace of an acrobat. He returned with the stick, panting but ecstatic, ready to do it all over again. Every once in a while, Hunter would stop in his tracks, his head snapping to the side as he heard the rustle of a small animal in the underbrush or the distant call of another dog. For a moment, he was perfectly still, a statue of alertness, before curiosity inevitably drew him back into motion. His enthusiasm was contagious, a constant reminder to Thomas of the unadulterated joy of being present in the moment. The morning continued, with Hunter immersed in his discoveries. At one point, he found a puddle left by a recent rain shower. Without hesitation, he jumped in, sending water splashing in all directions. Muddy paws and a wet belly did nothing to dampen his spirits. Instead, the simple act of splashing around seemed to fill Hunter with boundless joy. He shook off the excess water, droplets shimmering in the air like tiny diamonds in the filtered sunlight. As they walked, Hunter made sure to mark his territory here and there, claiming small parts of the forest as his own. It was a ritual Thomas had come to expect, a sign of Hunter's confident presence in the world. The dog was not just a visitor. He belonged in this wild, untamed place. Through his antics, Hunter revealed his zest for life, his boundless curiosity, and his innate connection to nature. Thomas felt a deep sense of contentment watching Hunter, knowing that these simple pleasures were what truly mattered. Each sniff, each chase, each splash was a testament to the pure, unfiltered joy of living in the moment. And in that realization, Thomas found a quiet happiness, grateful for the constant companionship of his enthusiastic friend. As Thomas walked leisurely along the forest path, he couldn't help but smile as he watched Hunter dart around with boundless energy. Each swish of Hunter's tail and every joyful leap over fallen branches made Thomas's heart swell with a deep sense of contentment. Hunter had always been a bundle of joy, an endless source of amusement and companionship. Thomas's thoughts wandered back to the day he first brought Hunter home, a day that now felt like it was a part of some distant, dreamlike past. Hunter was just a small, scrappy pup then, but even on that very first day, his playful spirit was unmistakable. Over the years, their bond had solidified into something steadfast and comforting, an anchor in Thomas's life. Each walk through these woods, familiar yet ever-changing with the seasons, served as a cherished ritual that offered a respite from the bustling world. As Hunter chased after an imaginary foe, Thomas reflected on all the walks they had taken together. He remembered frosty mornings when the ground was blanketed in snow, the air crisp and clean, with every breath visible as a tiny puff of vapor. Hunter would burrow his nose into the snow, emerging with a dusting of white on his muzzle, his eyes sparkling with excitement. There were also those vibrant autumn walks, where the forest was a riot of red, orange, and gold. Thomas loved the sound of leaves crunching underfoot, and the sight of Hunter weaving through the tall trees, occasionally startling a resting bird that would take off in a flurry of wing beats. More than just moments of happiness, these walks had also provided Thomas with a sense of serenity. Each step taken on the path was a step away from the stresses and demands of everyday life. The rustling leaves, the calls of distant birds, and the rhythmic tempo of their footsteps on the forest floor created a tranquil symphony that calmed his mind and soul. Watching Hunter romp beneath the canopy of leaves, Thomas felt an overwhelming gratitude for the simple yet profound joys of life. The look of pure delight on Hunter's face, as he discovered new scents and chased unseen creatures, was a reminder of the beauty of living in the moment. Hunter's carefree nature, his unbridled enthusiasm for the little things, had taught Thomas the value of presence and attentiveness, lessons that came in small, almost imperceptible increments during their countless walks. Today, as dappled sunlight filtered through the trees, Thomas was fully present in his serene surroundings, enjoying the familiar yet ever rewarding company of his loyal companion. He thought about how much richer his life had become since Hunter had entered it, transforming mundane daily rituals into treasured memories. The forest walks were more than just exercise. They were shared experiences that fortified their bond and filled Thomas's heart with peace. These woods, with their ancient trees and whispering leaves, had become a sanctuary for Thomas and Hunter. They were a place where time slowed down, where the pressures of the outside world could be left behind, if only for a little while. As Hunter continued his playful explorations, Thomas felt the weight of gratitude settle within him. Despite the challenges and unpredictability of life, he had Hunter by his side, and together they would continue to find solace and joy in these peaceful walks through the woods. As Thomas and Hunter meandered deeper into the woods, the serenity of their shared walk was suddenly interrupted by a rustling noise to their right. Hunter's ears perked up instantly, his keen senses alert to every small disturbance in the otherwise tranquil forest. With a sudden burst of energy, he dashed towards the source of the sound, his nose leading the way. A tiny squirrel had decided to make its presence known, darting across the well-trodden path in front of them. The little creature paused briefly, seemingly calculating the risk of its next move, and then scampered up the trunk of a nearby oak tree. Hunter, enthused by this impromptu game, began to bark excitedly, hopping back and forth at the base of the tree as he stared up into the branches, his tail wagging vigorously. Thomas couldn't help but chuckle at the scene. "Hunter, buddy, it's just a squirrel," he said soothingly, taking a few steps closer to his animated dog. Hunter glanced back at him, as if to say, "But isn't this exciting?" Thomas reached out, placing a calming hand on Hunter's head, gently stroking his fur to ease the dog's heightened excitement. The squirrel, now secure on a high branch, peeked down cautiously, twitching its bushy tail. Thomas looked up and admired the little animal, appreciating the daily wonders that nature presented. He couldn't deny that part of him shared Hunter's enthusiasm. After all, it was these small, seemingly mundane encounters that added color to their routine walks. "Come on, Hunter," Thomas coaxed, his tone calm and reassuring. "Let's keep moving." Hunter gave one last hopeful glance up the tree before turning to follow Thomas, the excitement still sparkling in his eyes. Thomas allowed himself a moment of reflection, understanding that Hunter's playful curiosity reminded him of the spirit of adventure in his own heart. As they continued their path, the squirrel watched them until they were out of sight, then resumed its own woodland activities. Thomas marveled at how such an insignificant creature could bring about such joy and amusement. The brief encounter served as a reminder that life was filled with small yet delightful surprises, especially when accompanied by a curious and energetic companion like Hunter. With the incident behind them, Thomas and Hunter moved on in comfortable silence, the only sounds being their footfalls and the occasional whisper of the wind through the leaves. Thomas felt a deep sense of contentment as he watched Hunter trot ahead, once again absorbed in the myriad scents and sights the woods had to offer. As the sun began its slow descent into the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange, pink and purple, Thomas and Hunter started their journey back home. The woods, which had been alive with the sounds of morning birds, now settled into a harmonious evening lull. Each step they took through the familiar trails was accompanied by a comforting crunch of leaves beneath their feet, creating a rhythm to their walk. Hunter, his playful energy spent from the day's adventures, walked closely by Thomas's side. His tongue lolled out happily and his tail wagged lazily, a clear sign of his satisfaction. Every so often, he would sniff at the ground, as if savouring the lingering scents from earlier explorations. The exuberance of the morning had given way to a contented calm in both of them. Thomas, too, felt the day's exertions in his legs, but it was a good kind of tired, a rewarding fatigue that gave his entire being a sense of fulfillment. The sense of peaceful accomplishment was always the best part of these walks. They had ventured deeper into nature than usual this day, taken in more of its beauty, and Hunter had revelled in the freedom and its discoveries. The setting sun bathed the path ahead in a golden glow, making everything around them appear almost ethereal. The tall trees cast long shadows, and the evening breeze carried a coolness that whispered of an impending night. Each step brought them closer to home, yet neither was in a rush. This time spent winding down was as precious as any other part of their journey. As they neared the edge of the woods, the little cottage that they called home came into view. It stood with inviting warmth, windows glowing softly from within. The familiar sight filled Thomas with a gentle sense of contentment. He glanced down at Hunter, who met his gaze with an equally calm and satisfied look, as if the dog, too, was grateful for the day's experiences. Together they crossed the threshold of the woods and made their way up the gravel path. The tranquility of the evening enveloped them, matching the peaceful rhythm of their steps. Tired but satisfied, they moved steadily towards the inviting sanctuary of home, carrying with them the serene fulfillment that only a day well spent in nature can provide. As Thomas and Hunter reached the edge of the woods, their pace gradually slowed. The sun was beginning its descent, casting a warm, golden glow over the treetops. Thomas looked down at Hunter, who was walking alongside him, his tongue lolling out in contentment. The tired yet satisfied demeanor of his faithful companion brought a smile to Thomas's face. As they made their way down the familiar path toward their home, Thomas took a deep breath, filling his lungs with the crisp evening air. He felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude wash over him. These walks with Hunter were more than just a daily routine. They were a cherished ritual that brought both of them immense joy and tranquility. The woods had a way of soothing his mind and putting life into perspective. Thomas's thoughts wandered back to earlier in the day. He remembered how Hunter had bounded playfully from one tree to another, his eyes full of curiosity and wonder. That infectious enthusiasm had a way of reigniting Thomas's own appreciation for the simple pleasures of life. The rustle of leaves underfoot, the distant call of birds, and the rustling of a gentle breeze through the branches. These were the moments that grounded him, reminding him of the beauty of the natural world. As they turned onto the last stretch of their path, the silhouette of their quaint home came into view. The soft glow of the porch light beckoned them inside. Thomas couldn't help but smile as he thought about the comfort and warmth that awaited them. Reaching out, he gently patted Hunter's head, silently thanking him for being the perfect companion on these serene walks. In the quiet moments that followed, Thomas reflected on the bond he shared with Hunter. These walks were a testament to their unspoken understanding and the mutual peace they found in each other's company. They had navigated countless trails together, creating a tapestry of memories woven with endless shades of green, brown, and the occasional splash of vibrant wildflowers. As they stepped through the doorway, the tranquility of the evening enveloped them. Thomas took one last look at the darkening sky, a sense of fulfillment washing over him. He knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, these walks with Hunter would always be a source of solace, a reminder of the simple joys that life had to offer. Walking into the house, he felt a deep sense of contentment, knowing that tomorrow would bring another adventure, another walk, and another chance to appreciate the world around them. This is a journey through pages. Pepper and Corey had been best friends for as long as they could remember. Their friendship was like a well-worn book, filled with countless adventures, laughter, and the comfort of familiarity. One sunny afternoon, with the warmth of the sun kissing their cheeks, they decided to embark on a different kind of adventure, a trip to the local library. Excitement filled the air as they discussed the different genres they wanted to explore, contemplating the endless possibilities that awaited them within those walls. The library was a quaint two-story building, nestled between towering trees and surrounded by a peaceful garden. As they entered, the smell of old books enveloped them, creating a sense of nostalgia and comfort. Pepper and Corey wandered through the aisles, running their fingers along the spines of the books, searching for something new and exciting to read. As they strolled through the fiction section, a particular book caught Corey's eye. It was an old, leather-bound tome with an ornate lock. Its title, Chronicles of Elysium, was embossed in gold letters. Intrigued, Corey pulled the book from the shelf, and with a mischievous grin, he showed it to Pepper. The cover felt rough under Corey's fingers, hinting at the countless hands that had held it before him. "Should we check it out?" Corey asked, his eyes sparkling with excitement. Pepper hesitated for a moment, her curiosity piqued by the mysterious book placed on the old wooden table. After a shared glance and a nod, they decided to take the ancient volume to the librarian, hoping for some answers. The librarian, a wise-looking woman with glasses perched on her nose, eyed the book knowingly, her expression one of recognition and intrigue. "Ah, the Chronicles of Elysium," she said in a hushed tone. a book said to have the power to transport its readers into the very story it tells. But be warned, once you open its pages, there's no turning back. Legends speak of adventures untold and dangers that lie within, challenging the bravest of souls. Pepper and Corey, their fingers tingling with bubbling anticipation, carried the mysterious ancient book to a cozy, secluded corner in the vast library. The wooden floor creaked softly beneath their cautious steps, echoing the history of countless eager readers who had wandered through the aisles before them. The air was laced with the rich scent of aged paper and polished wood, creating an atmosphere that whispered timeless tales of forgotten adventures and secrets waiting to be unveiled. Seated on a faded rug, they carefully opened the Chronicles of Elysium. The first page beckoned them with its delicate parchment, and as they traced the intricate illustrations and studied the elegant calligraphy, a sense of timelessness enveloped them. The ambient hum of the library faded, replaced by the rustle of leaves and the distant melody of a hidden brook, transporting their senses to an ethereal place untouched by time. With each word, the world around them began to shift slightly. The library's soft lighting transformed into the warm glow of a magical forest, casting dancing shadows on the pages and surrounding areas. The air became charged with the scent of blooming flowers and ancient trees, and the gentle hum of mystical creatures resonated softly in the background. Pepper and Corey found themselves standing on a bed of moss, their bare feet sinking into the plush carpet of nature. The air carried the symphony of 1,000 singing birds, their harmonies creating a delicate lullaby. The two friends exchanged a glance, their eyes reflecting the serenity of their surroundings. Overhead, leaves rustled in the breeze, releasing a sweet fragrance that mingled with the earthy aroma of the forest floor. They wandered through Elysium's enchanted woods, the ground beneath them changing textures with each step. Soft grass tickled their toes, and smooth stones provided a gentle massage. As they approached a bubbling brook, the water felt cool and refreshing, a welcome contrast to the warmth of the sun filtering through the lush canopy above. They marveled at the myriad colors of flowers dotting the landscape, each petal a delicate work of nature's art. Birds chirped melodiously from the treetops, adding an ethereal soundtrack to their journey. The landscape unfolded before them like a living tapestry. Floating islands hovered in the sky, suspended by ethereal magic. Each island had its own unique ecosystem, vibrant gardens, crystal-clear lakes, and cascading waterfalls that painted rainbows in the mist. The sounds of water rushing and birds fluttering blended into a soothing melody that wrapped around Pepper and Corey like a comforting embrace. The fantastical scene appeared almost dreamlike, as if they had walked into a world beyond their wildest imaginings. The gentle sway of leaves in the breeze added another layer to the orchestra of nature, creating a symphony that resonated deep within their souls. In their amazing journey, they encountered mystical beings, each with a distinct and intriguing presence. Wise wizards spoke in hushed tones, their words echoing through the air like gentle whispers. Playful nymphs danced joyously through the meadows, their laughter creating ripples of joy. Brave knights, clad in gleaming armor, passed by on noble steeds, the clinking of metal echoing the determination in their hearts. The sun, a warm golden orb, painted the sky with hues of orange and pink as it sank towards the horizon, casting a magical glow across the landscape. The friends settled by the edge of a serene lake, its surface reflecting the myriad colors of the setting sun. They felt the cool breeze on their faces and listened to the water gently lapping against the shore, a soothing cadence that carried the promise of peace and tranquility to their hearts and minds. As the story unfolded, the days melted into nights and the nights into days. The concept of time became fluid, and Pepper and Corey lost themselves in the seamless rhythm of Elysium. In moments of quiet contemplation, they marveled at the intricate details. the delicate patterns on the wings of mystical creatures, the iridescence of floating petals, and the way the moonlight bathed the landscape in a silvery glow. Every whispered breeze and gentle ripple in the water seemed to convey secrets of an ancient world, a beautiful and eternal realm where time itself appeared to stand still. Yet, amidst the enchanting beauty, an almost imperceptible but persistent yearning tugged at their hearts. They missed the familiar sounds of home, the laughter of family, the comforting hum of everyday life, and the simple joys of reality. It was a profound realization that grew like a gentle breeze, prompting them to close the Chronicles of Elysium and return to the library. Back in the familiar surroundings, the library's scent of aged books and polished wood welcomed them warmly. The librarian, a guardian of the mystical tome, approached with a knowing and gentle smile. "You have ventured into Elysium and returned," she said, her voice echoing the wisdom and stories of ancient tales. Pepper and Corey, holding the book in their hands, gazed at each other with a shared understanding. The librarian nodded, acknowledging the transformative power of the Chronicles. With a grateful smile, they placed the book back on the shelf, its leather-bound cover holding the echoes of their extraordinary journey. The air around them seemed to shimmer with the magic of their shared adventures, as if the room itself recognized the significance of the unique bond they shared. As they left the library, the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow on the world outside. Pepper and Corey walked hand in hand, the memory of Elysium etched in their hearts, the ordinary sounds of the city-distant traffic, laughter from a nearby cafe, and the occasional rustle of leaves in a neighborhood park became a symphony of life, a melody that celebrated the magic of the everyday. They felt the gentle breeze brush against their faces, a reminder of the ever-present beauty in their journey. The Chronicles of Elysium remained on the shelf, its pages a portal to a world of enchantment and wonder. Waiting patiently for the next curious souls to arrive, it whispered tales of uplifting discovery, calming introspection, and the transformative power of the written word. This is the pumpkin who smiled. Nestled in the heart of the countryside, there was a farm that seemed to be painted straight out of a fairy tale. Rolling hills, lush meadows, and a winding river framed this idyllic scene, creating a picture-perfect backdrop that soothed the soul. Rows of vibrant sunflowers swayed gently in the breeze, and the air was filled with the sweet scent of blooming wildflowers. At the heart of this enchanting farm lay a pumpkin patch, an oasis of orange and green. The pumpkin patch was a patchwork quilt of rich soil and sprawling vines, each tendril reaching out like eager hands toward the sky. This charming patch was a treasure trove of nature's wonders, where pumpkins of all shapes and sizes basked in the warm sunlight. Birds chirped melodiously from the nearby oak trees, and the occasional flutter of a butterfly added to the patch's whimsical charm. Life in the pumpkin patch moved to the rhythm of the seasons. Dewdrops sparkled like tiny jewels on the leaves in the early morning sun, while the gentle rustling of the leaves in the afternoon breeze made a soft, soothing symphony. It was a place of peace, growth, and quiet wonder, where each pumpkin had its own story, waiting to unfold. This is where our story begins, with a tiny pumpkin bud, brimming with curiosity and the promise of adventure. In the early days of its life, our little pumpkin was just a tiny bud on the vine, nestled among the large green leaves of the pumpkin patch. The sunshine gently warmed its skin, and the dew glistened like diamonds in the morning light. As the days passed, the bud's curiosity about the world grew and grew. Every morning, the rooster's crow signaled the start of a new day on the farm, filling the air with possibility. The bud would feel the gentle caress of the breeze, carrying with it the sweet scent of blooming flowers and freshly cut hay. It was a wonderful time, a time of patience and promise. The bud looked up to the taller, more mature pumpkins that surrounded it, feeling a sense of excitement about what the future held. It couldn't wait to grow bigger, to see more of the world beyond the pumpkin patch. There was a sense of wonder in everything. How the bees flitted from flower to flower, how the birds sang their songs perched high on the branches of nearby trees. Throughout the day, it watched as farmhands worked tirelessly, tending to the crops and caring for the animals. The bud listened intently to the laughter and chatter, learning about the world beyond its lush green domain. Each drop of rain that fell provided nourishment, and each sunny day brought warmth and growth. The pumpkin could feel itself changing ever so slightly day by day. Its tiny form stretched and expanded, soaking up every bit of nutrient-rich soil it could. The roots that anchored it to the earth were sturdy but also filled with a sense of potential. As the days turned into weeks, this little bud started to develop more defined features, beginning to resemble the pumpkins it so admired. The rhythm of life on the farm was soothing, the chatter of crickets at night, the distant moo of cows, and the steady hum of the tractor. All these sounds blended into a comforting symphony. Each night, when the stars twinkled overhead and the farm had settled into a peaceful quiet, the bud felt a gentle peace wash over it. The night may be silent, but it was alive with dreams and aspirations. Through it all, the other plants in the patch became its companions. The sturdy stalks of corn rustled with whispers of encouragement, and the tall sunflowers turned their faces toward it, radiating warmth and support. In those first precious days, the little bud discovered the beauty and wonder of life in the pumpkin patch. Each moment was a step toward the bright, fulfilling future it could almost touch with its fresh green tendrils. The excitement of what was yet to come filled every fiber of its being, as it felt the promise of transformation and growth coursing through it with each passing day. Days turned into weeks as the small bud on the vine felt the warming embrace of the sun. Each morning, the dewdrops greeted it with a sparkling hello, nourishing the bud with the purest form of life. The first sprout of a tiny green leaf was a thrilling experience. It symbolized growth and the vibrant path ahead. As the days fluttered by, the pumpkin bud, which had started as a tiny, timid presence on the vine, began to evolve. The warm sun rays danced over the patch, coaxing each bud to stretch out and grow. Every drop of rain was a cherished gift, each raindrop soaking into the earth, feeding the roots, sustaining life. The rain's melody was a symphony that the pumpkin learned to love, knowing it brought strength to grow bigger and stronger. Friendships blossomed in the pumpkin patch, the vine intertwined with neighboring plants. The tomatoes shared stories of their rapid growth, boasting of their rich, red hues. The cornstalks stood tall, providing a shade of comfort on particularly sunny days, whispering tales of harvests past. The pumpkin learned so much from each conversation, cherishing the camaraderie shared amongst their community. Support from the patch family made all the difference. When the wind howled and bent the stalks, the vines held steady, hugging the soil with earnest determination. The pumpkin's skin grew thicker and its green hue deepened. Day by day, it began to take on a distinctive round shape. The once tiny bud was now growing into a prominent pumpkin, still adorned with hints of green amongst its developing orange color. The pumpkin loved the buzzing activity around it. Bees hovering nearby ensured the pollination process would bring many more young buds to life. Butterflies flitted about, spreading joy with each delicate wing beat, and the birds chirped songs of encouragement. The pumpkin couldn't wait to know what it would become, to fulfill its destiny. Evenings brought a peaceful calm. The glowing twilight cast a magical spell over the farm, stretching shadows across the patch and wrapping every plant in a serene blanket of night. The pumpkin relished these moments, reflecting on the growth of the day, dreaming of the future nights. One fine day, a transformation began to take place. The deep green was slowly but surely turning into a bright, healthy orange. It was a sign of maturity, a testament to the richness of the soil, the purity of the water, and the caress of the sun. The pumpkin was now plump and full, basking in its own reflected glory, proud of how far it had come. As summer melted into fall, the farm bloomed with festivity. The air was crisp, the leaves turned shades of red, yellow and brown, and the pumpkin was at its most vibrant, standing as a symbol of ripeness, of completion. It loved how the corn stalks rustled gently in the cool breeze, how the scent of harvested hay permeated the air, and how sunsets painted the sky in warm hues. But it wasn't just the beauty that made the pumpkin feel alive. It was the bond with its fellow plants, the shared stories, the collective growth, and the whispers of the wind that told of endless possibilities. The pumpkin knew it would soon be time to fulfill the next part of its journey, but relished every moment of this phase of growth and thriving. In the heart of the golden patch, surrounded by friends and nurtured by the farm, the pumpkin had become something truly magnificent. From a tiny bud, timid and curious, to a proud, full-grown pumpkin, it had lived a life of wonder, growth and joy. Every sunbeam, raindrop, breeze and friendship had contributed to this beautiful transformation. As the days grew shorter and the nights longer, the pumpkin sensed a new chapter approaching. Change was in the air, but for now, it rejoiced in the thriving life of the patch, a testament to the magic of growth and the power of nature's nurturing hand. One crisp autumn morning, the pumpkin patch was awash with the soft glow of dawn. Birds chirped a melodic tune, and the gentle breeze rustled through the leaves. Yet nestled among the thriving vines was one pumpkin, our pumpkin, growing bigger and stronger each day. But this morning, there was a different energy in the air, a sense of anticipation and unease. Our pumpkin had become accustomed to the comforting embrace of the earth, feeling the warmth of the sun on its smooth skin and the cool dewdrops that greeted it each morning. It loved the sounds of the farm, the conversations between the other pumpkins, and the rhythmic hum of bees visiting flowers nearby. The pumpkin felt secure, loved, and at home. As the sun climbed higher, shadows grew shorter, and the hustle and bustle of the farm picked up. Farmers began their work, and the pumpkin overheard snippets of their conversations about the upcoming harvest festival. Suddenly, a shadow fell upon our pumpkin, blocking out the sun. It looked up to see the towering figure of a farmer, his hands reaching down. This was the moment every pumpkin both dreaded and hoped for, the day of being picked. Strong hands cradled the pumpkin, lifting it gently but firmly from the vine that had been its lifeline since it was just a bud. There was a sharp tug, and then the connection to the earth was severed. The pumpkin felt a wave of sadness wash over it. What would happen now? The comforting soil, the camaraderie of the patch, the daily cycles of light and dark, all were left behind in an instant. Carried across the field, the pumpkin tried to understand this new change. Everything felt strange and uncertain. Gone were the familiar sights and sounds, replaced by new, overwhelming sensations. The pumpkin passed by rows of cornstalks, hay bales, and crates filled with other harvested crops. They all seemed to look at it with a mix of sympathy and encouragement. Our pumpkin was set down gently in a wooden crate with other pumpkins, each of them sharing their own anxious whispers. There was a collective sense of loss and a shared longing for the patch that had been their world. Yet among the worry, there was also a sense of curiosity. What lay ahead? What purpose would they now serve? The pumpkin couldn't help but feel a deep pang of sorrow, missing the familiar comfort of the patch. However, amidst the uncertainty, there was a glimmer of hope. Perhaps this wasn't the end, but a new beginning. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting golden hues over the farm, the pumpkin tried to focus on that hope, wondering and waiting for what came next. The pumpkin sat dejected, rudely picked from the comforting patch where it had spent its entire existence. It felt empty, wondering what purpose could possibly lie ahead. Days passed in a blur of uncertainty, until one crisp autumn afternoon, everything changed. gently cradled in a farmer's arms, the pumpkin was carried to an inviting porch adorned with fall decorations. The aroma of cinnamon and apple cider filled the air, mingling with the laughter of children running around in eager anticipation. For the first time since it had been plucked from its leafy home, the pumpkin felt a sense of curiosity. Something was about to happen. With careful precision, the farmer began to work. Eyes, slanted and jovial, were carved into the pumpkin's resilient skin. Each cut felt like a breath of life entering its orange shell. A broad, toothy grin followed, giving what once had been an ordinary pumpkin a personality, a spark of individuality. As the final touches were perfected, the pumpkin felt an unfamiliar sense of eagerness. Once transformed, it was no longer just a pumpkin. It had become a jack-o'-lantern, a symbol of joy, excitement, and the enchanting spirit of Halloween. Perched proudly on the porch, it commanded the attention of every passerby, its face illuminated by a flickering candle placed inside. Warmth from the flame seemed to pulse through its entire being, chasing away the sadness that had once consumed it. The pumpkin began to understand its new role. It was no longer a simple vegetable waiting for an uncertain fate. It was a beacon of light on chilly autumn nights, a guardian watching over trick-or-treaters as they ventured bravely into the dark. It brought smiles to children's faces, eliciting gasps of delight as they admired its spooky, yet friendly, expression. As the days passed, it found joy in the new rhythms of life. Each evening, it watched the sun set across the sprawling fields, casting long, golden shadows over the landscape. The cool night air brought with it a sense of calm and purpose. It was amazing to think how much had changed in such a short time. The pumpkin, now a jack-o'-lantern, realized that its life had indeed taken a new path, one it had never anticipated but had come to cherish. It was a path lined with laughter, light, and the unbridled excitement that only Halloween could bring. No longer was it sad about leaving the patch. Instead, it felt gratitude for the journey that had led it to this moment of transformation. As Halloween night approached, the air buzzed with excitement. Illuminated by its inner flame, the jack-o'-lantern felt alive in a way it had never known. The once still, contemplative pumpkin now found itself amid the sounds of joy and celebration, its new grin matching those of the revelers who marveled at it. It had discovered a new purpose and, with it, a profound sense of fulfillment. The farmer, the children, and the entire neighborhood had given it a role, making it a cherished part of their traditions. And so, for the first time, the pumpkin felt truly complete, knowing that its glow brightened more than just the porch light. It brightened hearts and brought a sense of wonder to all who saw it. In this joyful transformation, the pumpkin embraced its new identity, relishing the magical feeling of renewal and the beauty of becoming something more than it had ever imagined. And so, as the glowing jack-o'-lantern illuminated the crisp autumn night, the pumpkin reflected on its remarkable journey. From the tiny, curious bud that first sprouted in the warm embrace of the pumpkin patch, to the vibrant, full-grown pumpkin basking in the sunlight, every moment had been magical. Though the day it was picked brought a wave of sadness and uncertainty, it was this very change that led to a beautiful transformation. Now, with its bright, carved smile, the pumpkin served a splendid purpose, bringing joy and wonder to all who beheld it. This newfound life as a jack-o'-lantern wasn't just about shining bright. It was about embracing change, finding new beginnings, and realizing that every stage of life holds its own unique beauty. The flickering candle inside mirrored the warmth and excitement that had always been a part of the pumpkin's spirit. As it stood proudly on the porch, the pumpkin knew that it had a role in creating memories and magic for the countless children and families that celebrated the season. In the end, the pumpkin's journey was a testament to the beauty of transformation, the joy in finding new purposes, and the endless possibilities that each day can bring. And in that simple yet profound realization, the pumpkin's heart glowed even brighter than the candle within. This is a castle in the clouds. Once upon a starlit night, in a small town nestled between rolling hills and whispering trees, lived two sisters named Janice and Molly. The air was crisp, and the moon painted silver streaks across the sky as the sisters prepared for a night that would weave their destinies into the fabric of dreams. They felt a sense of magic in the air, a gentle hum that connected them to the world around them. Each took a deep breath, feeling the cool breeze, and knew that this night held something extraordinary. Janice, the elder of the two, was wise beyond her years. With chestnut curls cascading down her shoulders, she had a twinkle in her hazel eyes that hinted at the magic within. Molly, the younger, had golden locks that danced in the wind, and her laughter echoed through the quiet neighborhood like a melody that brought smiles to everyone who heard it. The bond between the sisters was unbreakable, and their shared moments were cherished like hidden treasures tucked away in the depths of their hearts, unforgotten and eternal in their value. The sisters decided to have a slumber party under the stars, transforming Janice's room into a haven of blankets, pillows, and fairy lights. As the night unfolded, they whispered secrets, shared giggles, and indulged in sweet treats that seemed to melt away the worries of the world. Lying there together, they talked about their dreams and future plans, feeling a comforting bond that seemed to grow stronger with each shared word and laugh. As the clock struck midnight, they decided to lie down, their heads resting on fluffy pillows, gazing out of the window into the infinite night sky. The stars sparkled like celestial diamonds, inviting the sisters to a realm beyond reality, a dreamscape where their imaginations could wander freely through the vast universe. In a serendipitous synchronicity, Janice and Molly closed their eyes, surrendering to the embrace of sleep. Little did they know that their dreams were about to intertwine in a wondrous journey together, taking them to places they had never imagined. In the mystical realm of dreams, the sisters found themselves standing hand in hand on a soft, billowing cloud. Before them stood a majestic and grand castle, its towers reaching towards the heavens. The castle seemed to be woven from moonlight and dreams, a shimmering tapestry of ethereal beauty. As they approached, the gates swung open, revealing a courtyard adorned with blooming flowers that radiated hues unseen by mortal eyes. The air carried the soothing scent of lavender and vanilla, calming their senses. Intricate pathways of stardust led them to a grand hall, where a benevolent figure awaited them. As they walked further, they could feel an almost otherworldly tranquility enveloping them, a sense of peace that eased their minds and hearts. The courtyard was a scene from a dream, where every detail was meticulously crafted to invoke wonder and awe. The figure, bathed in a gentle glow, introduced itself as the Dreamweaver. With kind eyes that held the wisdom of ages, the Dreamweaver began to carefully explain the purpose of their shared dream. The air around them seemed to shimmer as the Dreamweaver spoke, infusing every word with a sense of profound significance. You, dear sisters, have been chosen to embark on a quest of the heart, the Dreamweaver spoke, its voice a melodic whisper. Within this castle, you will find the essence of your deepest desires, and in doing so, you shall illuminate the path for others to follow. Guided by the Dreamweaver's words, Janice and Molly explored the enchanted castle. Each room held a reflection of their hopes and dreams. Rooms filled with laughter, rooms echoing with the melodies of love, and rooms painted with the vibrant hues of endless possibilities. As they ventured further, they uncovered secrets that had been hidden for centuries, each discovery bringing them closer to understanding their own hearts and the mysteries of the enchanted castle. The library of forgotten tales beckoned them with the soft rustle of ancient pages turning. Leather-bound books whispered as they revealed stories waiting to be rediscovered. The scent of parchment and ink hung in the air, subtly infusing the room with the wisdom of ages, from times long past and nearly forgotten. In the kitchen of Sweet Delights, laughter bubbled like a musical stream, blending with the gentle hum of enchanted ovens. The sisters tasted desserts that seemed to dance on their tongues, each bite an exquisite symphony of flavors. The textures, both crunchy and velvety, added a sensory richness to their dream journey. They could feel the warmth of the ovens embracing them, the aroma of fresh baked cinnamon rolls swirling around, making each moment in the kitchen feel magical and endless. As they climbed the towers of courage and compassion, the air changed, carrying the sound of wind chimes that tinkled with every step. The walls seemed to pulse with the heartbeat of the castle, a steady rhythm that resonated with the courage and compassion within the sisters. Their journey was an ascent filled with purpose and determination, taking in the whole essence of what was around them as a source of strength. The castle whispered stories of self-discovery and the magic of sisterhood. Janice and Molly, hand in hand, felt the threads of their bond strengthen with each passing moment. They knew that their journey was just beginning, and many adventures awaited them within these ancient walls. In the highest tower, they encountered a mirror that reflected not only their physical appearance, but also the essence of their spirits. As they looked into the mirror, they saw the beauty of their souls intertwined, a tapestry woven with threads of love, understanding, and the shared laughter of countless cherished moments together. With a profound understanding, they realized that the castle in the clouds was not just a dream, but a manifestation of the unspoken connection they shared in the waking world. Their journey through the castle had illuminated the path to a deeper understanding of themselves, their aspirations, and each other. With the first light of dawn painting the sky in pink and gold, the Dreamweaver appeared again, their eyes twinkling with the joy of fulfilled dreams, a gentle smile forming on their lips as they watched the world come alive. You've started a journey that goes beyond the boundaries of sleep and explores the unknown, they said. Carry the magic you found in this dream into your waking lives. Let the castle in the clouds remind you that the power of dreams lies not only in their creation, but in their realization when brought to life. Janice and Molly woke up in their cozy pillow fortress, with the room bathed in the soft morning light. The sunlight streamed through the curtains, casting a gentle glow over the pillows and blankets scattered around. The echoes of their dreams lingered, intertwining with the laughter and warmth that filled the room. As the sisters embraced the new day, they carried with them the lessons of the castle in the clouds, the importance of shared dreams, the beauty of self-discovery, and the undeniable magic woven into the ever-evolving tapestry of sisterhood. As the sun rose above the hills, Janice and Molly ventured out into the world with hearts aglow, ready to share the enchanting tale of the castle in the clouds, a story born from the depths of their dreams and the enduring bond they held as sisters, a bond that could weather any storm and conquer any challenge. This is the Guardian Sisters. Nestled in the heart of a dense ancient forest, where the trees whispered secrets and the streams sang lullabies, resided a coven of good witches. These witches had a noble mission: to protect the people, animals, and plants that made this enchanted woodland their home. This coven, known by the name the Guardian Sisters, was revered by the town nestled just beyond the forest's edge. The Guardian Sisters had been active for centuries, passing down their wisdom and tradition from one generation to the next. Their magic was woven into the very fabric of the earth, and they used their powers to nurture the land and keep evil at bay. They were not the stereotypical haggard witches of old tales, but rather graceful and kind-hearted women with a profound understanding of nature's cycles and secrets. These witches had a unique and charming way of patrolling their domain. They took to the skies on their trusty brooms. Each broom, crafted personally by its owner, was imbued with intricate protective charms and bore the signs of frequent use. As night fell, one could often see streaks of light across the sky as the witches glided effortlessly above the treetops, their cloaks fluttering like the wings of benevolent spirits. Their bond with nature was their greatest strength. They communicated with animals, healed the plants, and even the winds seemed to carry their sing-song words. The townsfolk would often find their gardens more bountiful, their livestock healthier, and a sense of peace would permeate the air. The witches worked in harmony with the natural world, viewing themselves as its guardians rather than its masters. Every night, as the moon rose high, casting a silvery glow over the forest, the Guardian Sisters would prepare for their flights. Lanterns were lit, herbs were gathered, and incantations were whispered into the night wind. For these witches, the world was a tapestry of life and energy, and their mission was to keep it vibrant and safe, warding off any shadow that dared to encroach upon their tranquil realm. Nestled deep within the heart of an ancient forest, hidden from the prying eyes of the world, lies the home of the peaceful yet powerful coven of witches. Their humble abode, a charming ivy-covered cottage, is surrounded by a kaleidoscope of vibrant flowers, towering trees, and the gentle hum of nature going about its timeless rhythm. Here, every day begins with a symphony of birdsong and the warm embrace of the morning sun filtering through the emerald canopy. The witches stir from their slumber at dawn, their day commencing with gentle rituals that honor the world around them. They begin with a meditative walk through the forest, touching the bark of old trees and whispering words of gratitude for their guidance and strength. This simple act connects them deeply with the land, ensuring their magic remains grounded in the natural world. Returning to their cottage, they gather around a large, weathered wooden table in the heart of their home. The kitchen, an enchanting blend of rustic charm and mystical elements, bursts with the aroma of freshly brewed herbal teas and baking bread. Shelves lined with jars of dried herbs and flower petals, collected meticulously over seasons, serve as both ingredients for their potions and spices for their meals. The morning meal is a time of sharing. Over steaming cups of rosemary and lavender tea, they discuss the joys and challenges of the previous night's patrol, offering advice and encouragement. This meal fortifies not only their bodies, but their spirits too, reinforcing their bond as a coven and their collective mission. After breakfast, they attend to the earthly and magical chores that keep their haven thriving. Some tend to the lush garden, where medicinal and magical plants grow in abundance. Others might be found in the sprawling library, poring over ancient tomes and parchments, learning new spells and rituals. Their library, a trove of mystical knowledge, is a testament to generations of witches who have walked the path of protection and peace. As the sun reaches its zenith, the witches gather ingredients for their potions and remedies, concocting brews to heal and protect the creatures of the forest and the townspeople nearby. Their preparation is meticulous, with each plant, crystal, and vial of water imbued with intent and purpose. The gentle bubbling of cauldrons and the soft murmur of incantations create an atmosphere of serene productivity. Afternoons often find them in the forest or the small village they watch over. They might help farmers with their crops, using their magic to ensure a bountiful harvest, or assist healers in the village with remedies that modern medicine can rarely match. Their presence is always felt but rarely seen, like a whisper on the wind, their deeds attributed to good fortune and divine providence. As twilight descends, the coven gathers once more, this time with a sense of excitement and solemnity. The time to prepare for their nightly patrols draws near. They don their robes, each adorned with the sigils representing their unique magical abilities and strengths. Their brooms, enchanted to fly swiftly and silently, are carefully inspected, each witch taking pride in crafting and maintaining their personal broomstick. Before the night fully takes over the sky, they perform a grounding ceremony in their garden. Standing in a circle, hands joined, they chant softly, drawing strength from the earth and stars. This ritual not only prepares them for the tasks ahead, but also serves to remind each witch of their commitment to protect and nurture all beings. Thus prepared, the witches mount their brooms, hearts aligned with the mission that unites them. One by one, They soar into the night, ready to weave their magic, ensuring the safety and harmony of the world they hold dear. The sacred forest, now illuminated by the glow of moonlight and the soft whispers of magic, stands as a testament to their enduring presence and unwavering dedication. As the moon rose high in the ink-black sky, casting its silvery beams across the quiet town, nestled in the valley, the witches of the Glimmerwood Coven began their nightly duties, each witch, wrapped in flowing cloaks that fluttered gently in the breeze, mounted her broom with practiced ease. Their mission was clear: to protect the people, the animals, and the plants that thrived in this serene haven. First, they bounded through the skies, their brooms whizzing past treetops and chimneys, weaving an invisible net of vigilance over the town. The soft rustling of leaves and the gentle hoots of owls accompanied them as they flew. This was their patrol, a nightly ritual performed with the precision of artisans. They glided over the cobblestone streets, their keen eyes scanning every corner for signs of trouble. It wasn't just about catching wrongdoers, though that was certainly part of it. It was about ensuring that the town's peace remained unbroken, its tranquility undisturbed. One of the witches, Elara, always made it a point to swing by the local park where night critters roamed freely. The rabbits, foxes, and even the skittish deer recognized her presence and often paused to watch her. Sensing the protective aura she exuded, Elara would whisper an incantation for good health and safety, her words weaving an enchanting spell that safeguarded the creatures for the night. Meanwhile, Rowan circled the outskirts of the forest, using her broom to swoop low and high, checking for any signs of disturbance. She was the sentinel of the wildlife, ensuring that no creature fell prey to unforeseen dangers. She listened intently to the whispers of the wind and the rustling leaves, interpreting their messages with the skill of a seasoned wildlife observer. A broken twig here, a faint cry for help there. Nothing escaped her notice. If a baby bird had fallen from its nest, Rowan gently scooped it up and placed it back, her heart swelling with quiet satisfaction. Ariana, on the other hand, focused her attentions on the earth itself. Each night, she made a point to visit the community gardens and farmlands. Her broom would hover gracefully above the soil as she cast spells of fertility and protection to boost the growth of plants. She had a talent for communing with the flora, understanding their needs and worries. With every pass, she infused the soil with magical nutrients, her spells acting as an unseen gardener, nurturing each plant to thrive and flourish. Their work wasn't limited to the natural world. Ariana also took note of the bonds within the community, the ties that held people together. Families fast asleep in their homes, children dreaming innocent dreams, shopkeepers resting after a day's hard work. Ariana blessed them all with spells of tranquility and harmony. Her broom circled the town square, sending waves of peace and comfort radiating outward, soothing any hidden anxieties and fears. But even in such a tranquil town, shadows could lurk, waiting for a lapse in vigilance. And here, Esme's talents came to the forefront. Esme was the most adept at detecting and neutralizing negative energies. She prided herself on her ability to sense disturbances that might have gone unnoticed by others. Secretly fond of technology, she combined her spells with mystical gadgets, scanning the town for any unnatural energies or malevolent spirits that could disrupt the peace. Upon finding anything amiss, Esme approached with both caution and kindness, dissipating negative forces with spells of purification. Every witch had her unique strengths, her realm of expertise, and together they formed an unbreakable circle of guardianship around their beloved town. They often regrouped on the Witching Hill, a vantage point that offered a panoramic view of the valley. Here they shared their findings, conferred on any discovered threats, and ensured no stone was left unturned in their quest for maintaining harmony. This nightly ritual was not merely a duty, but a calling. Each witch understood the importance of their role, the delicate balance between the forces of nature and the innocence of human life. Even during the darkest hours, under the star-speckled canopy, their spirits remained light, their hearts full of the profound love they felt for every leaf, pore and soul they protected. And so, with sure strokes of their brooms, they continued their flight, circling, watching, protecting. Mother Moon watched over them, casting her gentle glow, a silent acknowledgement of their ceaseless vigil. And beneath that celestial watch, the Glimmerwood witches flew on, their dedication woven into the very fabric of the night. One chilly autumn evening, the moon hung low and full, casting an ethereal glow over the small town nestled among the hills. The coven of witches had completed another night of their usual patrol, ensuring the well-being of both townsfolk and forest creatures alike. Tonight had been particularly serene, with only a few minor incidents of stray cats causing mischief and a wandering raccoon trying to sneak into a chicken coop. However, as they began their return to the quaint cottage they called home, the witches sensed something was amiss. The instinctive bond they shared with nature alerted them first. Amelia, the coven's elder and most seasoned witch, felt a strange disturbance in the air. It was a low hum, barely perceptible, but undeniable. She quickly signaled the others with a series of intricate hand gestures, their silent language born from years of working together. Savannah, Sarah, and Eliza, the younger witches, immediately heightened their senses, tuning into the frequencies of the natural world around them. "What do you think it is?" whispered Savannah, her auburn hair glinting under the moon's light. "I'm not sure," Amelia replied gravely, "but something isn't right." They spread out, each witch taking a different part of the town and surrounding forest, scanning for anything unusual. Amelia moved towards the forest's edge. Sarah hovered over the town square. Eliza glided above the rolling fields, and Savannah circled the tranquil lake. Their brooms, imbued with enchantments, whispered secrets of the land to them. And then, just as the night's silence became almost deafening, a loud crash echoed from the forest. Rushing to the source, the witches found a sight unlike any they had ever encountered. A large, ethereal creature, reminiscent of both a stag and a dragon, thrashed about near the heart of the forest. It shimmered and pulsated with otherworldly energy, its eyes wild and fear-stricken. Trees and underbrush were upended and scorched, the creature's breath causing bursts of flame to spout intermittently. "It's a phantasma," Amelia declared, eyes widening in recognition. Legends spoke of such creatures, native to the astral plane and rarely seen in the mortal world. They were known to be gentle, but could cause immense destruction if scared. "We need to calm it," Eliza suggested, already starting to chant a soothing spell. "It must be lost and frightened," Sarah added, circling above the creature to avoid its fiery bursts. "Let's form a perimeter." The witches took their positions, creating a protective barrier to prevent the creature from causing further harm. Savannah drew upon her deep connection with animals to try and communicate with the phantasma, speaking in soft, melodic tones. Amelia, drawing from her vast knowledge of magical lore, crafted a spellbinding circle intended to guide the creature back to its rightful plane. Despite their coordinated efforts, the creature's panic grew, fed by the witch's own anxiety. Sarah, channeling her control over elemental magic, summoned a gentle rain to extinguish the flames and cool the air. Eliza continued her incantations, her voice now a steady, calming serenade. Yet, the phantasma's distress seemed to only escalate, its spectral form flickering and warping unpredictably. Understanding that traditional methods were not working, Amelia made a bold decision. "We need to merge our magic," she said with resolve. "Combine our energies into an astral tether powerful enough to lead it home." The witches joined hands, forming a circle around the phantasma. They closed their eyes, inhaling deeply to synchronize their breaths and energies. With impeccable harmony, they began to chant, their voices weaving together in an intricate pattern of sound and light. The ground beneath them vibrated, and a luminous thread of magic emerged. extending towards the creature. The phantasma paused, its wild eyes locking onto the shimmering tether. Slowly, its agitation faded, replaced by a tentative curiosity. The witches, their energies now intertwined, guided the thread towards the night sky. With a final collective effort, they projected the creature upwards, the tether pulling it gently through the veil between worlds. As the phantasma ascended, its form became translucent, fading until it vanished entirely. Exhausted but triumphant, the witches lowered their arms, watching as the first light of dawn began to creep over the horizon. They had faced an unexpected challenge and emerged victorious together. Their bond, already strong, had been fortified by this unanticipated trial, underscoring the importance of unity and trust in their sacred mission. As dawn began to cast its first light, the coven of witches found themselves standing victorious in the clearing. The rogue creatures, now safely corralled and calmed, were a testament to their unity and the strength of their magic, with each witch contributing their unique talents. Willow's calming whispers, Thalia's potent potions, and Esme's enchanting lullabies. They managed to pacify the creatures without harm. They worked seamlessly, their bond as unwavering as the ancient oaks around them. The townsfolk, who had watched anxiously from a distance, began to emerge as the last of the creatures was led away. There was a collective sigh of relief, followed by applause that rippled through the crowd. The witches, modest as ever, simply nodded and smiled, their hearts swelling with pride, not for the recognition, but because their beloved community was safe once again. As the morning sun rose higher, casting a warm glow on the town and the surrounding forest, the witches took a moment to gather in their cozy cottage. Over steaming mugs of herbal tea, they reflected on the night's events. Willow spoke first, her voice filled with quiet satisfaction. "We did well," she said, her eyes twinkling, "not just as witches, but as protectors of this land and its people. It's moments like these that remind us why we chose this path." Thalia, always the pragmatic one, nodded in agreement. "It's more than just our duty. It's our calling. Every spell cast, every potion brewed, it's all part of something greater than ourselves." Esme, the youngest but wise beyond her years, added thoughtfully, "Each challenge we face makes us stronger and more connected. We're not just a coven, we're a family, and families protect each other." They continue to share their thoughts and reflections, each witch expressing gratitude for the strength and unity of their coven. They spoke of the delicate balance they maintained between the seen and unseen, the ordinary and the magical. They knew that their work was never truly done, that new challenges would inevitably arise, but they also knew that together there was nothing they couldn't handle. As they prepared to rest, the witches felt a deep sense of fulfillment. Their hearts were light, their spirits rejuvenated. They knew that come nightfall, they would once again mount their brooms and take to the skies, ever vigilant and ever ready. For theirs was a world worth protecting, a world of harmony between humans, animals, and plants, where the magic of their goodwill could flourish. And so, with the sun climbing higher, casting its golden rays on the peaceful town below, the witches drifted off into a well-earned slumber. They dreamt of a future where their steadfast guardianship continued to nurture and protect. A future where every creature, every person, and every plant thrived under their watchful eyes. In this tranquil moment, they found clarity and purpose. They were not just witches on brooms. They were the silent guardians of a remote harmony, a harmony that would endure as long as the coven remained united. With hearts full of resolve, they embraced the promise of tomorrow, ready to soar and protect once more. This is Forgotten Treasures. Max and Ellie continued their folding endeavour, navigating through the mountain of clothes like seasoned mountaineers conquering a gentle summit. The lamplight cast elongated shadows on the walls, creating a dance of silhouettes as they delved deeper into the folds of fabric and memories. As they progressed, the couple discovered forgotten treasures buried within the laundry. An old love letter, slightly crumpled and faded, fell from a pair of jeans. Max picked it up, a nostalgic smile playing on his lips. "Remember this, Ellie?" he asked, holding up the yellowed paper. Ellie's eyes sparkled with recognition. "Oh, that's from our college days. You used to write me these sweet letters all the time." They sat on the living room floor, surrounded by socks and shirts, and travelled back in time through the words of the letter. Each sentence was a snapshot of their budding romance, a testament to the enduring nature of their love. The letter became a catalyst for a cascade of memories. Max and Ellie reminisced about their journey from college sweethearts to the parents of 3 energetic kids. They recalled the challenges they faced, the triumphs they celebrated, and the quiet moments that bound them together. Their conversation, once a mere distraction from the folding, became a journey through the annals of their shared history. The laundry, forgotten for a moment, became a time capsule of their life's chapters, a narrative woven into the very fabric of their being. As they continued folding, the room echoed with a symphony of laughter, stories, and the occasional sound of a mismatched sock hitting the floor. The mundane task had transformed into a celebration of their journey, a journey marked not only by the highs and lows, but also by the quiet, everyday moments that often went unnoticed. Amidst the clothes and laughter, Max and Ellie found solace in each other's company. The night deepened and the world outside retreated further into the silence. The couple, surrounded by the remnants of their daily life, discovered a profound sense of peace. At one point, Ellie unfolded a tiny shirt, a relic from their firstborn's early years. She traced her fingers over the miniature patterns, her gaze distant yet tender. Max, sensing the shift in her mood, placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Remember when they were this small?" Ellie's voice held a softness that spoke of both nostalgia and a mother's enduring love. Max nodded, his eyes reflecting the same sentiments. "Time flies, doesn't it? It feels like just yesterday we were folding onesies for our first baby." The room, bathed in the glow of memories, became a sanctuary for Max and Ellie to acknowledge the fleeting nature of time. The night stretched before them, a canvas for reflection and connection. Folding laundry, once perceived as a mundane chore, had become a portal to the past, a reminder of the preciousness of the present. As they reached the final stretch of the laundry pile, Max and Ellie were filled with a sense of accomplishment. The clothes, now neatly folded and sorted, formed a mosaic of colours on the living room floor. The night, though initially tiring, had become an unexpected journey through the tapestry of their life. With the last piece of laundry in hand, Max looked at Ellie with a twinkle in his eye. "Shall we celebrate our victory?" Ellie laughed, fatigue giving way to a newfound energy. "Absolutely. What's the celebration plan, Captain Max?" Max surveyed the room, his eyes landing on an old radio in the corner. With a playful grin, he turned it on, and the soft strains of a nostalgic tune filled the air. Max extended his hand to Ellie, inviting her to dance amidst the folded clothes and the remnants of their night. And so, in the dim glow of the living room, Max and Ellie swayed to the rhythm of the music. The night, once filled with the monotony of laundry, had transformed into a celebration of love, laughter, and the extraordinary beauty hidden within the ordinary. As they danced, the room echoed with the laughter and soft murmurs of a couple deeply in love. The laundry, now a neatly conquered mountain, became a testament to their teamwork and shared joy. The night unfolded like a flower, revealing the subtle magic that existed within the routine of their lives. The clock ticked on, but Max and Ellie lingered in the timeless embrace of their dance. The world outside remained oblivious to the intimate celebration within their home. The laundry, though neatly folded, served as a backdrop to a night that transcended the boundaries of the mundane. As the final notes of the music faded away, Max and Ellie found themselves in a quiet embrace. The room, filled with the remnants of their night, held an air of serenity. They stood amidst the folded clothes, their hearts intertwined in a dance that went beyond the physical realm. With the laundry conquered and the night embracing them in its tender silence, Max and Ellie shuffled toward their bedroom hand in hand. The soft glow of the living room lamp cast a warm trail, guiding them through the dimly lit hallway. As they entered the bedroom, a haven of tranquility, the ambience shifted. The room welcomed them with its soft hues, the bed adorned with plush pillows and a cozy comforter. Max and Ellie stood for a moment, absorbing the serenity that enveloped their sacred space. With a shared understanding, they began the ritual of preparing for bed. Max, ever the gentleman, pulled back the covers and fluffed the pillows. Ellie, with a grace born from countless bedtime routines, dimmed the bedside lamp, allowing the room to be bathed in the gentle glow of moonlight filtering through the curtains. The mattress beckoned, a haven for tired souls seeking respite. Max and Ellie approached the bed as if approaching an altar of solace. Max, with a gallant gesture, motioned for Ellie to take her place on the right side of the bed. She obliged, sinking into the plushness with a sigh that echoed the weariness of the day. Max joined her on the left side, and for a moment they lay side by side, their gazes meeting in the quiet acknowledgement of shared fatigue. The laughter and dance from earlier felt like distant echoes, replaced by the gentle hum of night settling around them. With a synchronized sigh, Max and Ellie shifted into a comfortable position. The room, now a cocoon of tranquility, cradled them in its embrace. The blankets cocooned their forms, offering warmth and a gentle weight that anchored them to the present moment. In the soft glow of the moonlight, Max reached over to turn off the bedside lamp, allowing darkness to envelop the room. The only remaining source of light was the silvery beams filtering through the curtains, casting a delicate pattern on the walls. As the room descended into darkness, Max and Ellie found themselves cocooned in a shared silence. The air was thick with the residue of the night's laughter, the scent of laundry detergent, and the unspoken reassurance of their love. They lay in stillness, attuning their breaths to the natural rhythm of the night. Inhales and exhales merged with the hushed symphony of the world outside their window, a gentle lullaby that carried with it the promise of rest and rejuvenation. The subtle sounds of the night seeped into the room, the rustle of leaves, the distant murmur of a passing breeze, and the rhythmic ticking of a clock marking the passage of time. Max and Ellie, with eyes closed, surrendered to the symphony, allowing its gentle cadence to guide them toward the shores of sleep. With each inhale, Max and Ellie absorbed the tranquility of the night. The weight of the day gradually lifted, replaced by a sense of weightlessness that mirrored the dance of moonlight on their bedroom walls. Ellie's fingers found Max's, their hands entwining in a gesture that transcended words. The gentle squeeze conveyed a silent affirmation that amidst the chaos of life, they were each other's anchors, grounding and comforting. As they lay side by side, a serene quiet settled over the room. The subtle rise and fall of their chests synchronized, creating a harmonious duet of breaths. The world outside seemed to fade away, leaving only the sanctuary of their shared space. And so, in the embrace of the night, Max and Ellie succumbed to the gentle pull of sleep. The room, once filled with the laughter of folding laundry, now cradled them in its arms, offering a haven where dreams could unfold like petals in the soft glow of moonlight. In the quiet hours, Max and Ellie drifted into a peaceful slumber, the world outside retreating as their souls settled into the calm abyss of dreams. The night continued its watch, a silent guardian over a couple who had navigated the folds of laundry and found solace in the simple beauty of an ordinary night. This is Whispers in the Sky. High above, in the azure expanse, where the cerulean sky meets the edge of eternity, dwelt two illustrious clouds named Nimbus and Cirrha. Nimbus was a robust, buoyant figure, holding tufts of fluff like freshly spun cotton, gleaming a pearly white. Beside him floated Cirrha, a delicate wisp of a cloud, her filaments stretching out like silken threads, reflecting a soft, ethereal glow. Their days were marked by tranquility, drifting with the whispering currents of the wind. From dawn's first light, painting the horizon with strokes of gold and amber, to twilight's gentle embrace, casting hues of lavender and rose, they glided through their serene existence. Nimbus and Cirrha enjoyed every moment of their serene, cloud-filled lives, seldom troubled by the tumult below. They were unburdened, their only company being the occasional bird and the unfathomable blue stretching out in all directions. In their peaceful journey, Nimbus and Cirrha had found in each other a companion, a dance partner, and a silent confidant. Their tranquil existence floated endlessly, creating a harmony that the heavens cherished. Slowly, like whispers of a long-forgotten song, the pair of clouds began their dance across the vast expanse of the sky. One cloud, soft and fluffy like freshly spun cotton, drifted gently toward its partner, a delicate and wispy formation that shimmered with the light of the early morning sun. They twirled and swayed, their movements effortlessly synchronizing into a graceful ballet that only the heavens could witness. As they wafted through the boundless blue, they explored every corner of their celestial stage. Their ephemeral limbs reached out, gently caressing the mountain peaks and tickling the tips of tall pines. They floated over sprawling fields, casting shadows that moved lazily across the earth, like a painter's brush sweeping gently over an endless canvas. Their dance was unhurried and fluid, a serene waltz carried by the whims of the wind. They would spiral upwards, higher and higher, until it seemed they might touch the stars, before slowly descending in elegant loops and arcs. The sunlight filtered through their airy forms, casting prisms of light that sent rainbows cascading across the sky. In their journey, they discovered countless wonders from their lofty vantage. They glided over shimmering lakes that mirrored their every move and soared above bustling cities where tiny specks of humanity went about their day. They marveled at the vast oceans, their azure depths reflecting the boundless sky, and hovered curiously over deserts where golden sands rippled like waves. The more they explored, the more their rhythm harmonized. Each updraft and downdraft they encountered was an opportunity to adapt, to learn from one another, and to perfect their dance. They embraced the gentle breezes that propelled them forward, weaving intricate patterns of unity and trust across the heavens. Their journey was a testament to the beauty of effortless movement and unfettered joy. Though their pace was leisurely, their path was vibrant with discovery and an unending sense of wonder. As day turned to dusk, they continued their celestial ballet, reveling in the tranquil harmony of their eternal bond. In their tranquil moments, the pair of clouds floated serenely high above, drifting lazily across the open sky. The golden rays of the sun warmed their wispy forms, diffusing through their misty edges and casting an ethereal glow that danced with the changing light. As they glided effortlessly, they trailed soft, gentle shadows onto the landscape below, a delicate interplay between light and dark that painted the earth in ever-shifting hues. Every so often, a stray breeze would nudge them closer, their misty tendrils intertwining in a soft, silent embrace, only to part again and continue their tranquil dance. In these moments of calm, the world seemed to hold its breath, captivated by their silent, graceful movements. Birds soared beneath them, singing melodies that seemed to rise up and mix with the cloud's own quiet journey, while fields of wildflowers below swayed gently in rhythm with their passing. And so, They drifted, exploring the vast expanse of the sky, enjoying the simple pleasure of each other's company and the serene beauty of their existence. These were the calm moments when time seemed to stretch and the worries of the world melted away, leaving just them, two majestic clouds, basking in the warmth of the sun and the infinite blue of their skyward domain. As the days turned into nights and the serene dance of the clouds floated on, a subtle change began to ripple through the atmosphere. The once crystal clear azure sky adopted a darker shade, as if an unseen painter added hues of grey and indigo to the vast canvas. The gentle whispers of the wind began to grow more insistent, sending a shiver through the fluffy duo as they sensed the first hint of something ominous on the horizon. The pair of clouds, who had spent countless moments basking in the glow of the sun and drifting lazily across the open sky, now found themselves moving with a newfound urgency. Their edges, once soft and undefined, started to sharpen with the growing tension. A sense of foreboding washed over them as they felt the pressure of the air around them shift and swirl in unpredictable patterns. Far below, the once placid earth landscape began to reflect the turmoil brewing above. Leaves rustled and trembled, birds took hurried flights back to their nests, and an uneasy silence spread across the fields and forests. The rhythmic dance of the clouds was now replaced with a jittery anticipation, each movement a cautionary step as they felt the temperature drop and the atmosphere grow denser. The clouds began to communicate in their own silent language, swirls and eddies conveying messages only they could understand. They clung closer, preparing themselves for the oncoming tempest. Flashes of distant lightning flickered at the horizon, a herald of the storm's imminent arrival, casting eerie glows that illuminated the sky in sporadic bursts. The warm embrace of the sunlight was replaced by a chilling draft that seemed to pierce through their very cores. Together, the clouds braced themselves, knowing they had no choice but to face the storm. They drew strength from one another, their unity becoming a bulwark against the encroaching chaos. The tranquility of their previous existence seemed a distant memory now, replaced by the palpable tension of the impending tempest. The storm sweeps in with a sudden, ferocious gust, bringing with it dark billows and a cacophony of thunderous roars. The two clouds, once billowing gently across the azure expanse, now find themselves thrown into the heart of chaos. Lightning splits the sky, stark and unyielding, and rain begins to pour in heavy, relentless sheets. These once serene companions, now pushed to the brink, feel the immense power of nature bearing down upon them. Caught in the turbulence, they cling to one another, their wispy forms blending into a firm embrace. The wind howls, rushing past with an almost painful intensity, yet they refuse to be torn apart. Together, they navigate through the onslaught, communicating through subtle shifts and movements, aligning their paths to resist the tempest's pull. Their journey becomes a struggle against staggering odds. The sky's fury shows no signs of abating as they face torrents of rain and blasts of wind. Visibility reduces to mere feet, but their bond remains their guiding light. Each crash of thunder that echoes through the heavens is met with a renewed determination to hold steady. One cloud, slightly denser than the other, shields its lighter counterpart from the brunt of the storm, creating a buffer, a testament to their solidarity. In the eye of the storm, where calm deceitfully returns for brief moments, they pause, regaining their strength. The heavier cloud absorbs the impact, while the lighter cloud weaves and flows, searching for subtle paths of least resistance. As the storm reaches its crescendo, they find themselves tested more than ever. An immense gust threatens to scatter them into oblivion, but with one final desperate surge, they pull closer, their ethereal forms intertwining even more tightly. The storm's ferocity rages around them, but within their embrace, there lies an unyielding strength, a vow to emerge together unbroken. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, the storm's intensity begins to wane. The once deafening roars of thunder grow distant. The winds lose their venom, and the rain slackens, becoming a mere whisper compared to its former ferocity. As tranquility starts to seep back into the sky, the two clouds remain intertwined, a singular entity of resilience that has withstood nature's fearsome trial. Surviving the storm together, these clouds are no longer just companions floating aimlessly. They are partners forged in the heart of turmoil. Their dance, once leisurely and free, now carries a depth of understanding and unity born from the tempest they braved together. Their bond, etched into the very fibers of their existence, resonates with a strength that only such trials can bestow. As the fierce winds began to subside and the heavy downpour softened to a gentle drizzle, the two clouds drifted apart slightly, exhausted but intact. The once dark and tumultuous sky brightened, revealing patches of azure blue and the first rays of sunlight breaking through. They had navigated the whirlwind and emerged on the other side, stronger and more connected than ever. In the aftermath of the storm, the clouds hovered close, tendrils weaving around each other in a comforting embrace. They marveled at the serenity that now blanketed the earth below, grateful for the tranquility that followed the chaos. In the soft glow of the sun, they cast delicate, overlapping shadows on the landscape, a testament to their union and shared endurance. This calm offered them a moment of reflection, allowing them to appreciate the strength they discovered within themselves and each other. No longer just two clouds meandering through the sky, they had become steadfast companions, ready to face whatever the heavens would throw their way, together. As the final droplets of rain fell, and the sun began to pierce through the dissipating gloom, the clouds hovered above, reflecting on their tumultuous journey. Their once separate forms had melded through adversity, creating a bond stronger than any earthly tether. They glided across the rejuvenated sky, a testament to resilience and unity. With every drift and swirl, they celebrated the calm they had earned, the lessons of the storm etched in their vaporous hearts. Above a world that often mirrored their complexities, they found solace in each other's presence, embodying peace and harmony, forever partners in the dance of the heavens. This is Embers of Friendship. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm, golden glow across the dense forest. The rustling leaves whispered secrets as Patrick and Kippy trudged along the narrow path, their backpacks laden with the promise of adventure. Best friends since childhood, their bond was as sturdy as the sturdy boots crunching leaves beneath them. They had always been drawn to the mysteries of nature and found solace in its endless wonders. Patrick, with his scruffy beard and unruly hair, led the way, a compass in one hand and a map in the other. Kippy, shorter and more rounded, carried a sack filled with snacks, laughter bubbling at the surface, ready to burst forth at any moment. The air was rich with the scent of pine, and the distant sounds of a babbling brook serenaded their journey deeper into the heart of the woods, creating an ambience that beckoned them further into nature's embrace. As the sky darkened, a clearing unfolded before them, a perfect spot for their campsite. They dropped their backpacks and with a shared grin, set about the timeless ritual of setting up their tent. The nylon flapped in the breeze as they secured it to the ground, their laughter echoing through the trees. They worked seamlessly, passing stakes and hammering them into the soil, tying knots with practiced hands. With their temporary home established, the friends turned their attention to the heart of the camp, building a fire. A ring of stones was gathered, and Patrick knelt to arrange the tinder and kindling with the precision of a seasoned outdoorsman. Meticulously he worked, ensuring every piece was placed just right. Kippy, ever the enthusiastic sidekick, offered encouraging words and fetched dry twigs. The forest, once a bustling cacophony, now hushed to a tranquil murmur, embraced them as they worked. The soft rustle of leaves beneath their boots mingled with the distant hum of a hidden stream. The air carried the earthy scent of moss, and the gentle caress of a breeze whispered through the towering pines. The serenity of the woodland seemed to weave itself into every fibre of their being, grounding them in a profound sense of peace. As the embers painted intricate patterns in the darkness, Patrick and Kippy found themselves entwined in the comforting glow of the fire, each taking turns sharing stories from their shared past. As the night deepened further, their laughter blended with the crackling flames, creating a warm, serene symphony that wrapped around them, making the moment unforgettable. With a reminiscent twinkle in his eye, Patrick began, "Do you remember the time we attempted to catch fireflies in Mason's backyard during that summer night? We were so young and carefree, it's a wonder we could stay up that late." Kippy's face lit up with a nostalgic smile. "Oh, that night was pure magic. The air was thick with the scent of blooming flowers, and the moon hung low, casting a silver glow on everything around us." Patrick continued. "We stumbled through the tall grass, jars in hand, trying not to alert anyone to our late-night escapade. The chirping crickets and distant hooting of an owl added a symphonic touch to our clandestine mission. The moon cast a silvery glow on the landscape, making everything appear ethereal." Kippy chimed in, "And then we spotted those tiny flickering lights, fireflies, like living stars, dancing in the warm summer night under the moonlight. It felt like we had discovered a secret world within Mason's backyard garden." Patrick nodded. "We moved with the grace of thieves, trying not to disturb the enchanting dance of the fireflies. The soft buzz of their wings and the rhythmic pulse of their glow created a hypnotic melody that whispered secrets of the night." Kippy added, "We sat there, jars in hand, surrounded by the ethereal glow of our captured stars. The world beyond the backyard seemed to fade away, leaving us in a pocket of time where only the magic of fireflies existed. The soft whispers of the night accompanied their tiny dances." As they recounted the story, the crackling fire seemed to echo the soft buzz of the fireflies, and the shadows flickering on the trees became a mesmerizing dance akin to the insects' delicate flight. The air around them carried the essence of that summer night, with hints of blooming flowers and the earthy aroma of the grass beneath their feet. The moon cast a gentle glow that added to the enchantment, illuminating their path and intertwining their memories with the night's serene beauty. Patrick continued, "We released the fireflies eventually, watching them disappear into the night. But that moment, surrounded by the soft symphony of nature and the enchantment of tiny living lanterns, has stayed with me and left an indelible mark on my soul." Kippy nodded. It was like we had a glimpse into a world untouched by time, a moment suspended in the magic of friendship and discovery. Time seemed to stand still, capturing the essence of our connection perfectly. The fire crackled in agreement, casting shadows that seemed to mimic the gentle flight of fireflies. The forest, a silent audience, listened to the echoes of that summer night as Patrick and Kippy shared stories within stories, weaving a tapestry of memories illuminated by the warmth of their campfire. The flickering flames danced, painting vivid pictures on the canvas of the night, each spark a fleeting moment adding to the magic of their evening under the stars. The fire became a storyteller, recounting tales of friendship that spanned years. The wood whispered secrets of resilience, of trials faced together and triumphs celebrated side by side. In its glowing warmth, the mundane became magical, and the ordinary became extraordinary. We gathered closer, feeling the depth of each word, each ember casting shadows of our own shared memories and dreams yet to be fulfilled. Time slowed, and the world outside their small haven seemed to fade away into a distant, forgotten dream. The crackling fire wove a poignant lullaby, and the stars overhead blinked in perfect time with the rhythmic heartbeat of the ancient forest. The air, once crisp with the electric anticipation of adventure, now cradled them in a serene, comforting embrace that felt timeless. As the night wore on, conversations ebbed into comfortable silences. Patrick stared into the dancing flames, lost in thought, while Kippy gazed up at the tapestry of stars above, contemplating the vastness of the universe. The fire, a steadfast companion, became a meditation, drawing them into its quiet embrace. It was as though the flames held stories untold, secrets of the past dancing in the flickering light, inviting them to ponder life's mysteries. In the stillness, the friends found solace. The mundane task of building a fire had transformed into a sacred ceremony of connection. Embers glowed, reflections of the enduring warmth between two kindred spirits. As the flames danced, casting shadows that wove stories of their past adventures, the night carried on, embracing their bond. And so, in the heart of the woods, beneath a canopy of stars, Patrick and Kippy sat, wrapped in the simplicity of friendship. The fire whispered promises of tomorrow as the night unfolded its velvety tapestry, weaving dreams and memories into the quiet and serene symphony of the wilderness. Far away, an owl hooted softly, marking the passage of another hour.